Welcome back to the HOTS International 2023 here in Berlin. We are setting up for our next winners bracket series of the day. It'll be your first look at the United States as they'll be playing against Sweden, who was able to take out France earlier. Back here with Bahamut. Bahamut, how you feeling, man?
Great. I got a little bit of food in me, got to stretch my legs a little bit, and I am ready for another great best of 5 joined by you. I got to cast with you, Khaldor, and again you. Maybe when he was talking about the schedule, maybe he thought that maybe the NA casters would want to cast NA. Crazy idea.
I mean, I'm part European. I got kind of adopted for a couple of years. Oh, well, I guess we're just global casters then, right? I am very excited for this match. The United States actually was the big winner in our last tournament for Miami in 2022. There is a bit of a difference, though. We will have a tank being replaced here, as Caterpillar was technically German, so therefore he couldn't play for the United States, and we have Uninverted coming in instead, which I think is actually a pretty big change. But first, let's take a look at these brackets as what has been occurring for the last few hours here at the tournament. Germany was able to get a 3-0 on Poland. They then moved forward, and they took a 3-0 against South Korea. It was shaping up to be an awesome series, but in game number 3, it just felt like Korea lost a lot of steam.
They really ran out of momentum, it felt like. As we kept watching that game, I was saying to Khaldor in the early game, what's going on? Did they lose steam after that battlefield map? South Korea did bring it back towards the end of Infernal Shrines. They just couldn't eke out enough. Still, though, they're not out of this tournament just yet.
They actually fall down the losers bracket. They'll be facing off against France later, who was beat by this team, Sweden, as they got a 3-1 victory over that. And then, of course, we are moving into United States and Sweden for the semifinals. Now, there is Poland down the bottom as well for losers round. Whoever will be losing this will be facing off against Poland, and we'll see if they can hang on. I believe those matches will be played tonight, pending the time that we have. So overall, our brackets are pretty solid, or about, gosh, darn near halfway through this tournament, which is kind of sad, but kind of awesome to think about.
I hate it and I love it at the same time.
Just like ketchup. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're very right with
ketchup
that.
is a weak condiment, but it's also really yummy, and you got thrown into things. Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's like, it's good on things, but you're just like, oh, I feel so guilty.
I need the ketchup. I should have just gone for hot sauce.
Right?
I guess I'll still with this. Regardless, things are all looking pretty solid. Now, with that being said, we are going to talk about this change-up that is happening on the tank lineup here for the team that won in 2022 over in Miami. In case you missed the tournament, it's still awesome, and all of the VODs are available over on Khaldor's YouTube. But Caterpillar was a very strong central piece to the United States team.
Who?
Who's this guy? Kira is actually pretty much the shot caller when it comes to the United States. But I felt like Cattle brought this moment of like, if something didn't want to go well or whatever, he would rein them in a little bit. And I'm wondering how Uninverted will do today in the matchup. And I actually haven't watched too many of his games, so today's the eye test for me. I get to learn a lot.
Oh, Uninverted, also known as Brandon, fantastic tank player, fantastic Heroes of Storm player, played a lot. Many grassroots scenes, played a lot in what we'd consider like professional nowadays for Heroes of Storm with what we have available. I got all the faith, honestly, in NA in this. I love Sweden as well. This is actually a heartbreaker matchup for me. Yeah. It's not an elimination matchup, which is nice, but it still is a little bit heartbreaking. One of these teams will drop to the lower bracket. One of these teams will continue their run through the upper bracket. Let me get your gut feeling on this. We don't really... We know a little bit about the teams. We haven't seen any drafts, anything like that. We are getting ready for our first map, but who are you leaning in for? Because like it's so 50-50 for me, but I'm eking out NA just a little bit.
I'm going the other way a little bit here. I'm looking at Sweden. I feel like their match is more than that we saw, but that's the thing is like I have to see what happens in the United States. I'm one of those people like I'm visual, right? I have to know what happens and see what happens in action, be a part of the experience. And the thing is with the United States is like we know they're great players. Like I've watched Kier since he started, like a little Here's a Dorm baby, right? Like I watched him move across the world.
I still have the Dorm poster. He's on it. Yeah,
I've watched him grow into the player that he is, the person that he is. I mean, he's grown so much, and it's so fascinating thing to watch. But him and Legacy in particular are a very strong duo. I remember watching them at the Miami, and there was a moment of hesitation between both of them. Immediately after the game was over, they jumped to the replay together and ironed it out. Like they're all about trying to figure out what they want to do. So the strength is there, but right now I'm leaning towards Sweden just because I got to see them earlier, and recency bias is a big deal with me. It is what it is.
Sure. Hey, we got a little split between the casters, and I do want to point out, or at least emphasize what you were saying. That is something I've seen the NA players doing in their preparation for these games today.
Every player should be doing that, period.
Yesterday they were doing scrims, and then they had a VOD review block. That's just, it's like scrims is one thing. It's one thing to play against another team that's high quality or just to get ideas out, reps, see. Does this weird composition work? No. All right, we won't run it.
What are we missing? What can we change out? Yeah.
it's one thing to experience it in a game. It's another thing to watch it back and understand, why did we fall? What went wrong? Okay, I was a little too far forward here. I need to rein in a little bit. And that's the critical thing that I like about NA. They are self-criticize, but not to the point where it's, oh my God, I'm the worst. It's, okay, I made a mistake. I own it. Let's move on and try and be a better team. I heard that in their comms when I was listening in on their scrims yesterday. I didn't listen in on their VOD review, but still, that's why I got this faith in NA, and, you know, they're a great team. They won the previous one, so the record's there, at least for me.
Yeah, it's all about the growth here. For me, it's going to come down to matchups. Gia versus Cure, I think, is going to be a really important one. What's Gia able to do when he pops off and is able to go for the engagements? Cure as well. We saw him play a lot of Genji in 2022 at the International there. But, of course, Genji's not available for this tournament. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying he's a one-trick, but he's a pop-off character that he pulls off. There is still Tracer available, but it was still used as a combo with Anduin. The light bomb into a full engage, jump across maps, was something that was a bread and butter for North America. So I want to see what their adjustments are, what they're bringing to this tournament, and what could be effective for them. Because there is some tools available, but it's going to have to see how it all unfolds here. Now, with that being said, earlier we saw Lauber and crew also showing us how to get tanking done. And again, that comes back to that tanking conversation versus Brandon, unaverted, and how Lauber will do with it.
That's what I'm actually wondering about, too. I have a lot of faith, and I got a lot of respect for Brandon, but I don't know if he's at the same caliber as Lauber. Lauber's a very aggressive tank, and he looks for those weaknesses and just exploits them. If he thinks that you're waffling a little bit too much, you won't step into him, he's going to start pressuring you. He's going to keep stepping into your face and testing you, limit testing you a little bit. So I seriously, I look forward to it, but I'm a little worried about Brandon's tanking, just because I don't know how it matches up against Lauber, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're have to see in a couple of minutes here when we get matched up. Now, we do have our first battleground. It is going to be Infernal Shrine. We have alluded to it a couple of times about the transformation strategies that was very popular in North America. Is it something that we could see from our United States team today, or do you think they'll stick with what they have?
You're talking like Alex Straza and Tychus and
Odin, etc.
Personally, I love Ragnaros on a map like this.
Sure.
You race down the objective phase to 30
He hasn't played
skeleton.
once this whole tournament. What are they doing?
This is where Swamp's going to bring it out. He's waiting. He's like, all right, I don't want to show NA my Ragnaros or my Murky. This is the series to bring it out, because this is the series that should go to Game 5, realistically. When you look at everything on paper, we talked about who's strong, who's weak. When it boils down to these two teams, this should be the 5-map series today. And it should be, in my opinion, one of the best series we get.
I have actually been interested in a couple of characters that haven't showed up, and we've gone to kind of a couple of Game 4s, but it's mostly been a lot of 3-0s. The Thrall was something that we talked about earlier that we didn't get to see much at all, so if we can go to Game 4 and Game 5 be good to go. Ragnar was missing. I thought maybe we might see him on Brax's holdout just slightly, but didn't get him popped up. Is there anyone in particular that you've been missing from this tournament that you want to see?
Asmodan.
Yeah? Really?
I love Asmodan.
Why
Asmodan? I will be the first one to admit he's not the best competitive character.
Sure.
But I love playing him. That's why I like playing him, because it's just that feel, that dunk, the laser, the summoning demons, and just the overall map pressure you are able to apply with him. But there's better heroes out there.
We have seen it in the past in Europe during HEC on Tomb of the Spider Queen. You do need a map that you can sustain and get to the late game, and that you're able to go for the clear. So Infernal Shrine's a little bit harder to pull off than you would think, mostly because if you have Asmodan running, that is one person on your roster that's not as good as clearing out the Punisher, and you can get dived on. He's got a big boy. He's a little on the thick side. So if you get dived in a body block, it sucks to be Asmodan, right? But Tomb of the Spider Queen, if that pops up, I could see him coming for you, and that'd be great.
Trick, it's so simple. Don't get dove. Don't lose the objective. And just get your stacks. Easy peasy.
Yeah. Easy. Sounds like the draft is ready to go here. That note from Bahamut, teaching all Asmodan players how to play. Into Infernal Shrines, United States taking on Sweden here for game number 1. As a reminder, if you're just joining us, first off, welcome. And second off, the pre-banned heroes at the very bottom are unplayable for this entire tournament. We are close to another hero being banned out. If you hit !bans in chat, you can find out more information as we continue to fill up the prize pool for this tournament. All right, Yrel will be banned out. And Yrel has become a pretty big staple in this tournament.
You don't give Liam Yrel.
You don't.
That is a fact of life. Of life. You never give Liam Yrel. Just write that down in your notebook.
Never give to Liam.
Exactly.
Liam has always been a top laner that I've respected from the day that I first met him. Another character that he is excels at, and I just wish I was as good as him. Malthael. His Malthael is incredible. He knows the exact moment to move in. And then while we're talking about characters that are just good for the United States, Madara and his Chromie is something that a lot of people kind of miss out on at first, but his time trap usage is some of the best in the game, and that's what makes that character so good for them.
I absolutely love the bans from Sweden. Heads up, they've done their research. Hogger will be banned away. I think he's been perma-banned pretty much all day.
Yeah, he's just strong.
I don't think he's made it into a game just yet. Oh, no, he was played earlier because there was a Shockwave combo game. I think that was the Braxis, actually. Diablo will be removed as well. While we're getting into these first picks, I also want to remind you as well the drafting style of this. There are the pre-banned heroes at the bottom of the screen, but every hero that's picked and played is unavailable for future maps in this best of 5. So for example, as we open up all of our best of 5 today with Dahaka, Dahaka will no longer be available after this map. But still, Sweden getting an S tier pick at the start.
And we saw that earlier from them. They know how to play Dahaka. I mean, it's one of those characters that has been around.
It's a swamp good
competitive esports for so long that Dahaka, you know what he's supposed to do. And even if you know what he's supposed to do, it's hard to stop because they get to choose when they burrow in behind you. And at some point, you do have to force a fight. Now, let's get an idea of the foundation for United States. What will they be picking? Tychus and then Lucio for their 1-2.
I like it. I like that a lot. Tychus, good sustained damage, good objective phase clearing. We talked about the transformations. We won't see a Alexstrasza, obviously, with the Lucy already in play.
Or double support coming, you just don't know it yet, man. Add 2 bruisers on top of that, it's over.
I swear that I heard someone on the NA team say, I hate playing double support. And they try to actively avoid it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's 2 sides of that coin. One is because you have to get a hyper carry, and the ideas of hyper carries just hasn't been as strong in Heroes as it is in some other MOBAs. But 2, if you do want to go the double support, why not go triple support and choke out your opponents for the entire draft?
Why stop there? Why not go quad support?
Just do it all, man. 4 support
quad
Arcanus.
Support, hyper carry Tychus. Let's go.
That's how you play, man. Sylvanas and Hanzo coming in for Sweden. This is actually a staple of European HOTS, and getting those out early, taking them when you can, and try to earn an early W is a solid strategy, and Sweden seems to be looking for that here on Infernal Shrines.
I like the Nubarek ban, getting rid of the availability of Cocoon. Though I still think this is actually going to be just more tank priority bans. Sweden should take out more tanks, limit the pool, and force NA into something maybe they're uncomfortable with at the map number 1. I do want to also point out, if I remember correct, Brandon's got a really good Garrosh.
Yep.
So we may see a target ban of that, but instead, actually, it's Mephisto.
I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen much Stitches today, just out of a random side note.
No, you're right on that, because it was something I actually said to Khaldor in the last best of 5. I was like, I really hope we see a Stitches somewhere here. It was actually at the start of the Curse Hollow map, so I'm right there with you.
There was a phase in European HOTS where he was just like one of the first picks that you would have had for a few of the matches. But Mephisto taken out. Making sure to watch out for any of that burn damage. It will be a Murden lock-in.
I like that.
For the US into a Leoric, which is another strong pickup for Liam.
So Lauber's going to be... I don't know. I feel like Lauber could go into a Garrosh here. And let's get into the weeds. Decimate Garrosh would actually be really fun. Because it's Infernal Shrines. A lot of people grouped up around the shrine. You decimate, toss him around. Hanzo gets the burst ability. Late game, at level 20, you have the... No Garrosh. Never mind.
That's okay.
The Deadly Calm at level 20 is really, really strong as well. But Variant Uther, this is burst and lockdown from Sweden.
Yeah, Haka or Uther is going to be able to up the fights, it seems like, with Varian falling up into a taunt.
Do we get a Yelling Varian? Is this Colossal Smash?
Probably not.
Because armor reduction,
It's good. I just feel like if you do that, you want to have more quick burst damage, and Hondo takes a bit of a wind up, and he has that one shot, and then Sylvanas to walk and get the auto attacks in.
That's fair.
With a Murden, they can kind of run you down and peel you off of that Colossus Smash. I feel like if you're going to go for Colossus Smash, you want to have... well, they do have 3 melees. It's possible.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more I think about it, it's possible. Junkrat comes in for the 5th pick for the United States. So, good clear for both of our teams here. There actually isn't a clear winner in terms of winning the Shrines, but the Sylvanas factor is something that we always have to consider.
I kind of lean Sweden a little bit on this one.
Yeah?
I really like their draft. I think Sweden got everything they wanted in this draft. And it got some really, really good heroes as well, but I think Sweden just absolutely got everything they wanted and more out of this draft.
It mirrors what we saw from them earlier and what they excelled with against France, but for me, I gotta see how the United States plays here in game number 1. I'm gonna go with Sweden just slightly as well, but I think that Odin really brings in a dynamic that could be helpful for the United States to turn it all around.
We're loading on into map number 1 in our... This is the 4th best of 5 of the day. Oh my gosh.
We got 6
they've been
in total.
flying by. Flying right on by, and it's been exciting. I hope you're all having a great time, and I just want to get into it. I want to see who's going to come out dominant at the start of Infernal Shrines, and I want to find out if we're going to be having still that Colossal Smash variant.
That would be
I'm waiting for it. High King's Quest at 1. High King's Quest at 1 might be it.
Infernal Shrines on the far left in the blue, the defending champions here for the Heroes International. It is our first look at the United States team. Liam playing Leoric, Madara playing Junkrat, Legacy on Lucio, Kira on Tychus, and Unaverted will be playing Muradin.
Over in the red, we have got Sweden, Henning on Uther, Gia on that Sylvanas, Skog playing Hanzo, Svampgata on Dahaka, and last but not least, Lauber smashing his way through with Varian.
This is a great matchup. I mean, if you look at everything, the matchups in the top lanes, Svampgata versus Liam, some of the best in their region.
Right?
You have your tank players that are looking to be aggressive. You have Cure versus Gia. This is just such a great matchup if you love any of the players and what they excel at in their role, because you have some of the best right on your screen right now.
I'll say this, actually, Trick. This is the best matchup if you just like HOTS in general.
Sure.
If you like some good heroes, this is where you want to be. Do want to point out we got target practice for Hanzo at level 1.
Wow.
So obviously it's Flawless Technique at level 16. Everyone takes Flawless Technique.
Interesting there. Yeah, Flawless Technique actually is...
It's really strong, but no one actually takes it because Piercing on this map is synergistic with the level 4 Explosion. Svampgata taking a ton of damage, but it's Leoric, Liam, who has to back off.
Don't hold on. I mean, seriously, that extra attack range at level 4 is something that was played with a lot back in the day. It could be a possibility, but I do agree with you that Pierce is pretty darn solid. Okay, immediately we have our wave clear for both our teams. What Sweden did well against France is they were consistently on top of the objectives after France was there first after game 1 and game number 2. I'm expecting that type of momentum from Sweden as they definitely warmed up through that series.
Looking at the Lion's Maw stacks for Varian, already at 4 out of the, I believe, 30 on that one. Legacy grabs a camp with Madara's help in bottom lane. But we're just getting double rotations through the lanes. Solo lane breaks off here and there to help out mid as camps are grabbed around the map as well. Overall, solid start from both sides. Nothing too flashy, nothing too crazy.
And Dwarf Block coming in for Muradin too at level 1 instead of that third win that you've been seeing from a couple of our Muradins today. Wants to be able to handle out some of those attacks that are coming in. Unaverted, jumping in, showing that pressure. And I like to see that. He's here to game, right? Like, no fear whatsoever, here to back up the team as needed. Svampgata and Gia in a position where they can go for a flank. Svampgata usually being on the top lane, but with that clear, he's able to come in and go for a drag. No support here to help him out, but he does slow down that push that is occurring in the middle lane while he heads back to the top.
Taunt Varian, Explosive Arrow for the Hanzo. These are standard things that we're seeing, but you know, nothing out of the ordinary, which is unfortunate. Of course, Lurker Strain for Dahaka really, really strong in the 1v1 up against Liam.
A little bit of a tame game so far.
It is very sort of just... you and I were talking about this. It's kind of like StarCraft at the start sometimes. It's like, okay, well, Terran's doing Terran, Zerg's, oh, well, they're expanding fast, of course. It's very just, I wouldn't say passive, but we're soaking up, we're just waiting for the objective. And speaking of, we have the announcement of our first objective in the mid lane. We'll be up for contest in 15 seconds.
Well, it makes sense why United States doesn't want to fight here with all... Ooh, actually, as Hanzo gets picked off. My gosh.
First blood.
A quick pick there. As we will be losing Skog for the moment. But I wanted to say, it makes sense why the United States wasn't forcing too many fights in the early game. With all these stack talents being available, especially Lion's Maw on Varian, Hanzo, they're trying to stack its Q as well. And even Uther bringing in his W stacks at level 1. You want to try and avoid those fights to prevent them from getting to their power spike.
Lauber sidestepping the Stormbolt of Unaverted. Well played. Brandon not able to get that CC. 7 talent here. Slightly faster to the side of USA, but it's not here just yet. The fight breaks out around the objective phase. Lurker Strain from Svampgata able to bot back the enemy. The drag does not connect onto an enemy hero.
20-10 so far on the Shrine control.
Uh-oh.
Lauber, Dahaka in position. Here comes a taunt, locking down Kier. Kier turns around and just brings that minigun. No fear whatsoever. Henning gets deleted there. And United States right now is up on kills 2-0 and on the Shrine 25-18.
Lauber aggressively chasing into Brandon, but has to back away as the Hearth comes out from Swamp Grotto. Do want to point out, Legacy got that kill. Lucio, truly a ranged assassin.
He does. He actually does a little too much. Sometimes you watch pros play that character and you're like, wait a minute.
Yasu Yasu and Banana on Lucio, it's absolutely wild, but Legacy is definitely up there, contested in the healer range for some of the top, in my opinion.
All right, Punisher comes out. This will be a Frost Punisher looking to keep that fort from sieging away. Liam, Kier, and Legacy will help out with the push, with Unaverted coming up on the rear side. Gonna get this wall, which is usually your main goal with the first Punisher, and if you get some damage on the fort, that's great, but this Punisher was dealt with pretty quickly by Sweden. But the experience is starting to tell the story here. 8.5 to 8 right now, as Sweden lagging behind as they're about to lose another turret.
Skog continuing to gain stacks on that level 1. 2 out of the 5. The reason it's 2 out of 5 currently is he's finished out all 3 hits on 2 enemy heroes. Drag from Dahaka will connect on to Brandon. A follow-up stun from Uther, and Sweden finds their first kill of map 1.
But it does come at the cost of some experience being lost in the other lanes. York pushing top lane, Liam just making sure to keep up that aggression. Tychus already working on the middle lane as well. And while that kill is helpful, and you do get the mercenary camp, and it helps narrow that gap, it is still some experience that has been missed out on. Now, Dahaka will finally get up there and grab some of it, but 10s are going to be slightly late for Sweden.
First objective, if I'm not mistaken, was the Frozen Punisher. The option could be Mortar or Arcane for the next, and thank you, Obs, for showing it's Arcane in the bottom lane coming up next. Announcement should be past or around the time of 10s. Both teams should have 10s up, and we should have a awesome contest with huge heroics. I am curious what Lauber's going to go for at level 10. Will he go Shield Wall or the Charge? Lauber was one of the people, as I mentioned before, going Charge at level 10 and then taking Juggernaut at level 13 for the every 4 seconds you do 4% damage, and there's that Charge.
Wow. We'll see how that pays off for him. What was that, 4 seconds you mentioned earlier?
So it's, yeah, so you can charge every 4 seconds, and you can also charge to allies as well. Level 13 is where you get the percent-based damage.
All right.
If he goes it.
Well, good pick for them. It wouldn't be too bad against a Murden, too. Like, you want to do want to mill him as fast as you can so he goes away, especially with that Avatar being available. Lauber going to scout for a bush, but Uninverted's been there to meet him every time with the hammering. I gotta say, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Uninverted. He is certainly feeling that tank role perfectly.
Oh, absolutely. He's definitely a strong tank. I just don't know how he fares up against Lauber, and it's showcasing right now they're very equally matched. Lauber is trying to test the limits of Brandon, and Brandon keeps saying, all right, keep stepping in, let's fight, let's brawl. And it seems to be going okay for both sides.
Shrines will be up soon. Can't be grabbed here in the middle, and there will be one behind for Sweden. Remember, theirs was about 10 seconds delayed compared to their opponent, but they'll be able to grab that on that top side as that experience gap continues to be slightly in favor of the United States. Now, what I'm curious about is this full isolation lockdown. Will they be looking to try and take out Murden here on the front line, or even Leoric? I'm looking at Sweden with the drag into a silenced arrow, into a taunt, into an Uther Divine Shield. They have 4 units that excel at locking one person down, and if you can make sure to go from CC to the next CC, you can easily get those pickups. However, Lucio is there to foil the plan with his hand, his good old slap.
Slaps, well, not all around just yet. At level 20, it slaps all around with Mixing Fire, but until then, we got our second objective phase coming up here, that Arcane Punisher, as we did mention. Dahaka is still in top lane. The assumption is he's got that Brushstock up and available to join into the allies. Half a level to go for 13 talent tier. Actually, it's even less than that, as the experience is jumping quickly for the side of North America.
Yeah, watch that from Gonto. The moment he can get that wave to push, yeah, he did it. He's going to put himself in a position.
There's the Brushstock.
Yeah, here he comes.
Nice drag.
Gets a tongue, locks down Liam. Liam trying to be unstoppable, but he does get picked up. Gia goes for an aggressive banshing well there, looking to grab their opponent. Ooh, Unstoppable comes out at the right time, uninverted, unable to hit that Storm Bolt, and now Sweden has a 5v4, but Liam, he's haunting and is on his way back.
Really good cleanse from Uther just a moment ago. Avatar utilized by Brandon. Commandeer Odin for Cure still up and raining in Annihilation. That actually just now expires 24 to 27 in the Skeletal Defenders. Lucio will fall. Sweden gaining momentum in map number 1. Looked a little shaky, but they shook off the rust. We got a small little pause, and we'll solve that. Until then, Trick, What's your favorite pizza topping?
Oh my gosh, that came out of nowhere. I'm actually a fan of margarita pizzas. I
love those.
I like the basic
It's simple.
and basils.
It's very simple.
Really
and if you get it wrong, you never go back to that place.
It's a real taste of like what the pizza establishment makes because it comes down to their dough and how it encapsulates with the salsa or the sauce.
I was about to say, what kind of pizza are you getting?
Salsa, man.
I'd try that maybe.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
It's pretty good. I wanted to shout out from Gonta, man. He was pretty much the reason why Sweden was able to pull off that W on that shrine. There were 2 back-to-back tongues. One hit Leoric, which is pretty expected. Leoric is going to get melted down if he ever does get CC'd, but he was able to follow up onto a Lucio afterwards. And I don't know if you play Dahaka into a Lucio matchup.
It's not fun.
It's not fun. It's very hard to land that tongue, especially when they know where you're at. He played the same bush the entire time and just was barely able to grab Legacy. So great play there by Swamp Gonta, and if he continues up that momentum here in game number 1, I could see a pretty good position for Sweden to earn a W.
We talked about that critical level 7 talent for Dahaka as well, the Feeding Frenzy. Cooldown reduction from your auto attacks on your drag, but also you increase the drag duration by 0.5 seconds. Baseline drag is 1.75, so you got a 2.25 second drag, and you get that cooldown. And around the shrines, even if you're mashing auto and you're hitting skeletal defenders or the monkeys, you're still getting that cooldown. It's not like you have to hit a hero to get that drag duration down. Love the way they're playing it, and I think this is starting to be the shift in momentum for the side of Sweden. Not 100% sure what our pause is right now, but we'll resolve that hopefully very quickly and get us back into game and be able to see what's going to happen here on Infernal Shrines, because we were still working on that second shrine, no?
Yes, the second shrine was about to be activated here and pushing the bottom lane. Sorry, someone was shaking.
I know, I saw them waving. I was like, do you know who that is?
Hello, random person. How are you? So, yeah, going back to your Dahaka point, by the way, as well.
Sure.
A lot of people don't realize that if you hit a drag, while you're still dragging them, you can auto-attack the entire time as well. So you can get 2 free auto-attacks to burn down that
That's always,
drag setup. So
when I used to have a friend back when HGC was still around, so a lot more master. I used to have a friend. Well, when HGC died, they went back to League. So and then our friendship because they play League.
Wow,
so.
I can't. Wow, you're awful.
I'm a horrible person.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
No, it's just they played more League and we kind of parted ways. Either way, they gave me a bunch of Dahaka tips and they did some coaching because they were a master player in Heroes. Yeah. And basically, they said when you drag, you have to have 2 things in mind when you land that drag. You have to make a decision. Do you drag to auto or do you drag to drag?
Yeah.
Because you want to be efficient in one of those two. You don't want to just drag and just kind of just do nothing. So there's always that decision that needs to be made, and Svampgrad is nailing that decision every single time. Am I dragging to pull and displace, or am I dragging to lock them down for my team to follow up on CC and I just sit there and claw away?
Yeah, it's basically it comes down to what your team composition is. And in this one, we have an Uther, so you always want to pull that Uther coming to you. Okay, so Punisher will be grabbed here on the very, very bottom portion of the map. Do remember that Dahaka was able to also get top lane prepped, and there's some damage already on top of that fort. And in the middle lane, the United States was forced to clear out a wave as well. So this fort on the bottom side is in danger of being picked off, especially with Sylvanas being here.
I'm in danger. Yeah, absolutely. It's just Ralph in bottom lane, and that will go down. We do have Dahaka working on mid lane. No, he's just chilling in bush, not showing for a moment.
As he should be. Always hiding. Remember we were talking about tanks earlier? Yeah. Same with side laners. Same
thing with especially Dahaka too. You want that just drag from the distance. Did Skog just get a stack over the wall onto Madara with that?
May have, yeah. Sometimes you gotta go for those shots, man.
That was cool. Yeah, that was a good read. But more siege happening from the side of Sweden, and it looks like north of the United States is just unsure how to stop the momentum Sweden's built here.
Well, sometimes you go through an ebb and flow in games, right? Sometimes you're like, all right, we lost the Punisher, we kind of screwed up here, we lost 2 people, now we have to reset and get everything going for it, and you just have to give the opponents everything they want to take until you have reset, and you decide what's focusing on that. They made a call, okay, clear out mid, sacrifice support, and then we'll work on top. The thing is, you're right, Sweden's momentum is kind of on point right now. They are bouncing between waves and really using that black arrow to full capabilities here. That is going to be a second fort lost in the last 60 seconds.
I feel like they took bottom lane fort, rotated to mid, grabbed wave, and then Sylvanas basically said, I got black arrow again. You want to go take another fort? Double fort within, what, 2-3 minutes? Really, really well played from Sweden. That's passive experience gain. That's a little bit of structural experience gain. But the other thing, too, is periodic catapult pressure that is unmatched in top and bottom, constantly pushing out these waves and winning over for Sweden.
And the reason why they wanted to focus that top side down, too, is you want to get rid of that well right before the
next run, absolutely. That's a very good point.
Side. So they faded the pressure middle, and the moment they saw Junkrat and Leoric on the map, Junkrat was clearing middle, and Leoric was bottom. That's the main wave clear for the United States. Takis is okay at wave clear, but he doesn't excel as well as those two formerly mentioned. So that's why they took that opportunity to run to the top. And now they have 16 to 15, and the United States is saying, okay, we understand that you guys are in a pretty nice commanding lead. We have to wait till we get our own 16, and they're playing safe at the moment. They don't want to have any more picks. Their next major fight will be around the shrine to the top side.
United States has to be able to close 16 before they get to this next shrine that's going to be in... There we go. Nope, hi.
Diablo 4 is out by everyone.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, just so you're aware.
Oh.
Full aggression here in the middle as the camp was grabbed from Sweden. And they now realize that the United States is on their way to level 16 at the moment. So they had to go ahead and pull on back. And it's a good heads-up play. Always keep an eye on that north side of your bar to see if your opponents will be able to get an equal fight. Dahaka continues to hide in the bottom lane. He's trying to see if anyone comes down to deal with that catapult. And if they do not, he can actually move over there and help up with that wave clear. Or if they do, that's when you can go for a brush stroke if you know where they're at.
The big thing to note also in these 16s, you got the launch for Murden, so cooldown reduction when he lands on enemy heroes, but elongated tongue for Dahaka, really great to the feeding frenzy at level 7, but also the piercing arrow. You get the double explosion into the shrine, faster clear for Sweden, also Banner of Dalaran for the Varian. This is all amazing talents at level 16 for Sweden. A couple good things here and there for United States, as well as that Mithril Mace for Leoric for the faster attack speed.
Increased spell power haunts and nearby allied heroes is what the Banner of Dalaran does here. So yeah, Sylvanas and Hanzo will benefit from that.
Also Uther, healing output.
Oh yeah, good point. Which he needs it, because, my gosh, his armor is strong, but his healing, whew.
He says the light abandons no one, but I feel like he has to abandon everyone for mana constantly.
I feel like he just says a lot of like cryptic things because he's just old, right?
You know what?
There's no thought process behind it. Poor old Uther, man. All right, Varian set up for our flank here. So we'll keep an eye on Dahaka as the shrine is now activated to the north. Gia's going to start it right away. Unaverted is in the bush and waiting. Lobber scouts him out with a Lion's Maul.
Mithril Mace at 22 stacks, watching that Dahaka if they're going to brush stock in. There's the Dwarf Toss in from Unaverted, but unfortunately the Will of Forsaken, actually the Stormbolt didn't even connect, so Will of Forsaken spent right there. I believe it's a 45-second, maybe 60-second cooldown on that one.
So Sweden has a chance here to decide if they want to fight an Odin that has just popped, and they decide to do so. Divine Shield comes up, here's a Riptire, hits on 3, nice stun there. Leoric Entomb comes out, but Liam is just eating so much damage there. Finally, an arrow comes out the last second, and Murden just gets deleted there on the front line. Hanzo arrow comes out. It's going to be a whiff. Kira trying to shell away, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oh, the drag right between the enemies. Picks off Liam. A double kill to the side of Sweden. Svamp Grata, I got to say, just playing amazing here. Loving the Dahaka play. I got to watch back this VOD myself and learn some Dahaka tips from Svamp Grata.
If we were playing old Hot Tournament rules, that Dahaka would start being banned out. But luckily for the United States, he cannot be played in the future. But it is something to consider in future series. They do face off once again because Svamp Grata is looking strong on that character. Top lane, Punisher will be sieging forward. This should be a wall. Now, technically, the Mortar Punisher is considered one of the weakest Punishers for aggression, but it is a giant health bar still for the United States to get through, and Sweden is looking to capitalize.
Black arrows will expire from Sylvanas. They get the keep front gate for pretty much for free, and 20 talent here almost to the side of Sweden as well. They'll back away, not going for the entire keep in top. Punisher, I think it drops it down to like 25%.
Middle fourth, though. That's what they want to get. They can grab this, squeeze out 20, but Madara is already there with a couple of grenades to slow that down. Sylvanas finally steps up, spreads out the arrows as needed. And at this point, Sweden's just going to do everything they can here not to get picked off. Finally, 20 connects, and they have a 1.5 experience lead. It always is, what is the question? What are they going to do with this? Gia steps up, being watched here. Henning will have that cleanse up if he needs to. Unaverted, popping the Avatar, scared of possibly getting caught off there. And that's a heroic down.
That's an unfortunate panic button, I gotta say, for Brandon right there. Do want to point out also Glory to the Alliance for Varian at level 20. Oh, top lane.
They're going for it.
Yeah, they're going for it.
That's what you do.
Nice. I like it.
You have a storm power talent. You have any type of talent. Do something with it.
Also, Liam showing on top lane in the right as well. So they're sitting there. Okay, Leoric's gone. Tychus is clearing bottom. We can easily take a keep here. But the outer layers of the onion have been peeled back for North. Oh, goodbye.
Yeah, he was going to get caught off there. There was no way to now. He was like, all right, I might as well back and pull them all back. Because that allows this to happen, actually. The United States is able to push down the bottom, grab that experience lead, and if they stayed a bit too long or Liam was able to buy time, they could have taken the Merc Camp too, which would give them that 20. But I'm pretty sure that was a shot call from the United States. Okay, Leoric, to sacrifice your life, you can be back. Give us a moment to open the map up a little bit, and they do just that.
That's a fair That's a fair call, honestly.
Because he back near the
cheat,
tunnel vision as well, so like it's totally something that you can do.
And you cheat death. You have a shorter death timer overall. You spawn on the map, so you don't have to rotate from core. Yeah,
I like
absolutely
to
good call.
Inting to win is
Yes,
something
yes,
you got to do sometimes, you know, for the team.
You got to sacrifice your body, Leoric, for America.
Damn.
What?
That's motivational.
Yeah,
right there.
thank you.
I don't know if I would.
should be a motivational speaker at this
I
point.
could.
You can do it. Yeah.
I like this positioning here for Sweden. They're setting up on the bottom side for this next shrine, and they'll have Dahak up there. Again, the advantages of a global is just so unmatched. Liam has come back, but I don't think he expected this one. Runs to his teammates. Unavert is going to help out. There's a Storm Bolt.
Nice.
The damage is pretty high, but that is still a Leoric down 80% of their health bar.
From just respawning, too.
Yeah. That always feels bad when you get caught out on your Leoric.
Or the dieback from Diablo. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm back in. Oh, no, I'm dead again.
Unlucky there. Well, we will have our minions pushing the top right. Sweden is in a solid commanding lead. They're just playing the chips correctly to make sure that they can set themselves up for a W. They'll try and pull off what we've seen multiple times already in this game, number one, having a sideline splitting up because the United States is having a hard time dealing with that.
Do want to point out we got that Commandeer Odin. We will be seeing... Is that the Summer Anthem that we actually have at level 20 for Lucio, which... Isn't that Summer Anthem? Oh,
House Party.
Oh, okay. I'm misremembering the talent icons.
He gains extra healing whoever's affected by the crossfade. 8%. There's a full arrow. Hit 2.
And that is Leoric getting chunked so much. The banner down. The dragon! The elongated tongue. Swamp Grata keeps popping off.
I better see some claps if you're a fan of Dahaka right now, because Swamp Grata is putting on a master class on how to play this character.
I swear that every time there's a drag, I swear I can hear the audience going nuts.
Yeah. I mean, we do have a Europe audience, so of course
we do
be voting for Sweden. Just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just a couple. And you know, rightfully so. They're out here enjoying some hots. Odin gets popped up.
Whoa.
20 seconds for Leoric to come back. You can go for a fray. Odin drops in, gets a big red button, but it's just not enough damage here. As immediately we see Lucio just deleted once again. Henning trying to walk forward with that stun, unable to get the Tychus, but the shrine, look at it. It's open for the taken.
And we've got more than 50% over to the side of Sweden here. Commandeer Odin with the big red button utilized to clear out the minion wave. Madara poking at a camp, but I think the call from the team says, we gotta back off. Don't get caught out. It's not worth it. Let the camp leash. We defend. We got 30-some seconds on Lucio to respawn. A little surprised that we don't see Mixing Fire at level 20. It's such a huge talent for Lucio's to deny healing onto enemies.
It's an Uther. He's denying himself, right? It is what he does.
But you also have the reason I bring it up is it's also the banner of Lord of the Alliance. Like, that upgrade's huge for the team. Big jump from Punisher, drag from Dahaka, and a dead Liam.
Well, Unaverted jumps back, trying to watch out. Kier doing what he can to get some Punisher damage in, but a full combo on him, and he gets deleted once again. That is 3 members down. Lucio will be back up here in 3 seconds. But can it Punisher? That's a 90% health bar, and a Sylvanas pushing in to kill this keep. It feels like this is going to be GG, but it doesn't matter quite yet because the United States is doing their best to defend. Here comes Unaverted. He drops down another Stormbolt, and Madara is working those grenades in as much as he can.
The core is dropping rapidly. Punisher still around 60% HP. Muradin isolated. Gia goes in, gets the Divine Shield. Muradin has to Dwarf Toss out. The core falls to 0, and Sweden will take map number 1 in our 4th best of 5 of the day up against United States. And can I change my initial feeling?
Yeah, you can do it.
Can I jump to this ship? Can I jump to this ship and say I'm back on Sweden? Sorry, NA.
Feel free, jump in and say what you gotta do.
And then when they pick Cho'Gall, then I'm back on it.
Yeah, no, that's how it works. Yeah.
That is actually how it works. But overall, beautiful play. MVP, I mean, I said it through the game, MVP is Swamp Grata. That's like, Khaldor and I were talking about Reigns Assassins are typically, no.
Side laners, when they get these top 3 to 4 side laners, can be completely nullifying and taking people out left and right, and that's what worked out there for Sweden. Now, with that being said, Dahaka will no longer be playable in the next couple of games, but the teamwork will still be on full display for Sweden. I think that's also the hidden MVP here, as they were just really on point with their macro. Even though Dahaka came in and got those drags, they were there to follow him up. You can really see that the team is together in unison, and it felt like that was the same for the United States in the first 10 minutes of the game, and then we got to the later stage, and it started to look like maybe some jitters hit. We saw the random avatar that was popped up in the middle of the lane just because a little bit of damage came in. He wanted to make sure he didn't get picked off. So let's get that cleaned up a little bit, and the United States can still be strong moving forward.
Moving forward, just I want to see more aggression from United States. I think that's what I would like to see. The early game felt, and you and I were kind of noting on this both, it didn't feel passive, but it just felt slow. It didn't seem like there was a major priority to make quick rotations for a kill or anything like that. It was just, let's do some standard rotations, let's go get our camps, let's get our 7s or whatever, and then we'll maybe start fighting around these shrines. It just... I gotta say, I want more from NA. I was expecting more from them. I was expecting some big boom, some fireworks.
I mean, they are champions, and again, that was their first game of the entire tournament so far.
True.
So this is the part where it's like, okay, guys, we are in this. We
Yeah.
got to turn this around. This is one thing that I think Kier excels at as a player for the United States, is he knows when to mentally reset and get everyone moving forward. And with that, on the other side of Sweden, they did such a great job in game number 1. Just keep up that momentum and make sure to keep up that aggression.
You're
Now,
right. Oh, go ahead.
map number 2.
Oh boy, we're going to a map we haven't seen yet today. We're going to Sky Temple.
This is a map that in Europe was played decently, but not to the point where it was like the first 2 to 3 maps that you would see chosen. It was usually a game 4 or a game 5, unless it was like ADRD and as Gazelle gameplay. But when it comes to North America, this is a map that we actually saw a lot. They love the idea of getting characters like a Nubrak, Greymane, burning down forts on the side, bouncing around, full macro, and then using that tempo advantage to make your opponents make mistakes.
True. The other thing to consider, too, is Abathur on a map like this. Abathur with Mule is a huge counter into the temple phases. It's like 3,900 health that Mule can give, and if Mule doesn't get killed, I think the cooldown at that point is like 10-15 seconds.
Is it 3,900?
Excuse me?
Is it 3,900? Is that what it is?
I thought it's 3,900.
I'm not doubting you. I'm more of like,
no,
oh,
I'm trying to.
amazing.
I'm like off the top of my head because it's around 4,000 but less. So either way,
I see something scratched, and I'm like, just throw a mule at it.
I mean, that's what I do too as well. But that's why my Abathur play isn't Grandmaster yet. But these players are Grandmasters, and they will be taking us to Sky Temple. And let's see how the draft unfolds here.
All right, Sky Temple it is. Speaking of Abathur, it's been criminally underrated. We have yet to see it played in a tournament. We've seen some drafts here and there when people were scrimming, sure, but haven't seen it in the tournament for an actual win itself. Urel will be the ban for Sweden. That is the same thing that we saw in game number 1, and I think it's just a smart play because we did see, as you mentioned, in the 2022 International, Urel was picked often by United States, and it was a character at the time that wasn't played by everybody, so Liam came out and just completely cleaned up with it, and not everyone had an answer for it.
Tracer also going to be banned away, not wanting to deal with the sustained damage of the Busy Bee, or the Mosquito as I like to also call her. Diablo gone from this one, so no hard initiations from Lauber, but we get first pick over to the side of Sweden. That means that United States, as the losing team, opted for Sky Temple.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So the United States has something in mind they want to bring to Sky Temple, and that's what I'm most excited about as we're going to unfold this draft a little bit, but okay, simple and easy. Nothing flashy, nothing crazy. A Stukov to start out, solid healer, displacement's good at level 10. He just scales really good throughout the game.
Yeah, back to my point earlier, United States, when it comes to Sky Temple, it's Greymane, Tyrael, and a Nubrak are usually like some kind of a formation that they pick up. Just, again, the idea of being able to pick off forts. When you are wanting to rotate to the bottom lane for a Temple, for instance, they'll say, I'll go top lane, and then they take that fort out really quickly. There's a Nubrak actually right away, and we get a Lunara, which we have not seen in a while. Lunara is great for bruising down those opponents, getting that poison spread.
Also, Vision. Vision is huge on this, in Heroes of the Storm in general, and Sentinel Wisp at level 1. If you put it in the bush above the boss, I believe you can nearly see the rotation down into bottom lane. It's just so much available vision for United States. This is going to be a great key for them in this map to deny that sort of sneakiness that Lauber likes to do, hanging out in bushes, diving out, maybe Swamp Grotto, but oh boy, that's scary. A Speed Barrier Garrosh.
Yeah.
He's going to be walking real fast.
We saw this earlier from this team. They ran it to perfection. It was actually quite a surprise to see it pulled out. Garrosh and Zarya, and the rotations of how they provide their healing, and it was with the Stukov actually at the same time, they just have a hard time getting picks. The only thing that's a little bit rough with this composition is you kind of are locked into the lanes that you pick, and you are locked to run as like trios and quads. So if United States decides to go for a macro strategy here and try to split off like we were mentioning earlier, they could handle this quite well. So I want to see how this matchup goes on.
Love the Sergeant Hammer ban, honestly. It's going into Sergeant Hammer with a Zarya, Stukov, and Garrosh. There's just way too much control from Sweden, who will ban away the Falstad. Gust availability on Boss is annoying. Speaking of Boss, and also Lunara, there's a possibility the United States could lean into the poison composition, grab Gul'dan here as well. Horrify's huge on a map like this to be able to deny bosses or steal them away. Poke potential's huge, and you're just stacking dots on enemies between Lunara and the Gul'dan, but it's Abathur Kharazim. Let's go.
There he is. The Abathur Kharazim is great at that rotational gameplay that I was talking about earlier. You provide a shield, Kharazim's able to duck around. You can even peel him off of your main composition if you would like, and allow him to go and try to fill that gray main role, right? Because Abathur is just so good at empowering him. And it also provides just a smidgen more healing that Kharazim is missing.
Yeah, the Carapace is nice to have as well. Keep in mind that Ultimate Evolution does give, I believe, attack speed and spell power as well to the target, 20 or 25%. But a Vala Chen for Sweden, this is, honestly, Sweden's got a beautiful hyper carry draft with the Vala, and it's Gia on a Vala as a hyper carry. I can't be too upset about that or really doubt him.
This is the same composition we had earlier, minus Sylvanas, and they have Vala instead.
Okay.
So less ability.
We know it mostly works.
Yeah, we know it mostly works. Less ability to kind of just brute force your way through forts, but still you have that hyper carry from afar that can help out. And a final pickup is going to be Zeratul, which I'm assuming we're going to get from Cure.
Okay. It's 1-1. It's 1-1. It's 1-1.
Oh, yeah, you jumped really quickly.
It's Cure's Zeratul. It's Cure's Zeratul. Oh, God, yeah, I flip-flop all the time.
Oh, my God. You remind me of those car dealerships, those things that move back and
the wacky... Anyways, I can't say it. But the Cure's Zeratul, it's like Masquerade's Tyrael. You just cannot doubt it. And you get Abathur hat on Cure. He's going to be roaming around that map, and Gia's life will be an utter nightmare, in my opinion, because that's what Cure should be doing. He should be running around, denying Vala, and I feel like this Vala might be Creed of the Hunter, or maybe they might adjust and not go Creed, the auto attack, because they have the Zeratul Huntinger down. You don't want to lose those Gambit stacks. Maybe we see multi-shot, maybe we see Hungering Arrow or Puncturing Arrow.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get those stacks up, but it's also such a great talent because of that move speed in particular. Like, being able to dance around on a Vala is helpful. I keep saying that I want to see Void Prison for my Zeratuls. I keep getting Might of the Nerazim, which I understand why.
Oh, it's so good, but yeah.
But I think this composition for Sweden, it does well when it's compacted together, right? But Void Prison or any type of ability that allows you to separate those is where you start to see it dismantle and fall apart. And if you kill one, it's like dominoes. They all fall apart as well. So again, I keep asking for the Void Prison. I think it would look good here, but we'll have to see as we're heading into Sky Temple. Sweden is up 1-0, and on the far left behind it, we have the United States.
USA. Cure on the Zeratul. We got Liam playing Kharazim. No, sorry, I missed it. Liam is going to be on the Abathur Legacy playing Kharazim Unaverted, playing that. Anubarak, Mata will round out the team on Lunara.
To the far right in the red, up 1-0, it is Sweden. Svomgranta playing Chen, Skog on Zarya. Gonna have Lauber playing Garrosh, Gia on Vala, and Henning to round it all out with a Stukov.
Circling back to your Void Prison note, I'm with you on it. I would like to see it too. I love the idea of Void VP and Brandon Unaverted burrowing in, so that way as the VP ends, you have the AoE stun from Anubarak. Kharazim comes in with a 7-sided strike. Zeratul with massive cleaves. He's actually going to be going Shadow Hunter, which is fairly normal for Cure at level 1. No greater cleave for the 33% radius increase.
Those already have full energy there on Zarya. I think it's like when you go over 80%, you're just doing like critical mass. It's kind of insane how much you can delete. But Cure also came in and waited for that shield to expire and then put some damage on him as well. And that's going to be the name of the plan. Counting those shields that Zarya puts out and making sure that you're in a position to punish the moment that it dissipates.
Lauber just... Okay, I'm looking at the talents as well. I'm staring at the Creed of the Hunter for the Vala, and I'm just like, oh no. This could be bad. Creed of the Hunter, the Gambit, 25% bonus attack speed. Every single time you die, you lose 5%.
Rough. Looking at one more book here. Yeah, I just randomly barked.
I wasn't sure. I don't know.
Shadow Hunter actually getting picked up for Cure as well.
Yep, regeneration globes and resets on blinks. It's Cure made this so popular because of how mechanically he just made it look so cool mechanically because of how quickly he could jump around and blink back and forth with cooldown reduction from autos. We'll see him finish that out fairly quickly because only 15 regeneration globes for that.
Turns out CDR is pretty good. Abathur Hat and Zeratul, I just found out. Abathur and Zeratul versus a Chen at level 2. Chen wins and takes no damage.
Oh, okay.
Kier actually tried to go for a flank on the top side. He was doing the wave clear as well, but he also got an auto text on Chen, and it didn't really do that much. Which is kind of interesting to note. Now, of course, that will get better later on in the game when Zeratul starts to scale on up. But the main plan here for Sweden has to focus a camp here, let Chen go for the double soak, and they just want to kill towers. They want to open the map here. Whenever you kill one tower, and if you get a full beacon of light from Sky Temple, you actually get the 4 as well.
This is really good initial siege in the bottom lane, amplified by, well, 1 siege giant for now. Fort Frank. Oh, Garrosh gets a good toss, but Brandon burrows out immediately. Legacy with some block totem action, denying a bit of damage. Multi-shots continuing out from Gia, whittling down this fort front gate and bottom lane. But the first objective phase on Sky Temple, always standard, top and center. Second one being singular in the bottom. So hard siege through bottom, really good. Also boss lane, of course, double siege giants. A lot of pressure can be applied in the bottom lane as this map progresses.
All right. Temple's now activating. One in the middle, one at the very top as well. Chen actually soak get that experience, but also in a position to possibly go for a fight, because Kira's coming for a flank. He does reveal himself from the top right. Skog, however, just being full energy. It's so hard to push into a Zarya that's got that full pink bar.
Little mines around as well, getting the dismount and the rotation back to mid. And Zeratul, honestly, he's trying to rotate as quickly as he can through all these lanes and get those regeneration globes. 10 out of 15 already done at 3 minutes. A lot of really quick regeneration globes for Cure here. Nice synergy of the level 1 and level 4 for Chen. Chen just got to get 5 more globes on that one as well. Garrosh still working through his level 1 and Vala, 22 stacks so far.
And it looks like Zeratul is being built up to be a carry, as Abathur has grabbed the, oh my gosh, the Spike Burst at level 1 talent, and then also the attack speed for Zeratul at level 4. So it's definitely an Abathur that's here to do damage, not heal and be slow fights. They are looking to find a pick and then go for that domino effect I was talking about earlier. Now Temple gets here in the middle, picked up and sieging away. You have Medora and crew kind of dancing around, but they're not going to really do too much on this fight. It's just too many numbers, 4 to 3. Just want to make sure they keep him here. Meanwhile, on the top side, Chen's trying to slow down Zeratul, and actually succeeding at it.
Zeratul got chunked a little bit there, working on the objective phase as well. Just peeking at some of the talents, we have Anubarak going, is it full W build? Is he going to go for W at level 7 as well? Okay, so this is really, really cool. Anubarak, when he's taking damage with this level 7, he'll be able to get refresh faster onto his Hardened Carapace, which has extra spell armor now, and you have the Shed Exoskeleton at level 4, which gives you mount speed while you have your W active, and then the level 7 gives you that cooldown reduction on your W when you're taking a bunch of damage as well. So really, really cool build so far from Unaverted. It's safe. That's the big thing too. He can tank a lot of damage and be safe. Also, chase and disengage with that level 4 Shed Exoskeleton.
It stops the poking that's coming in from Zarya and even Vala. But it does kind of hurt your hard engage with Burrow Charge and whatnot. Usually that level 7 pickup is nice, and it pairs well with Epicenter, great at level 16. So he is making a trade-off for this build, but it makes complete sense, because they've had to watch Zarya and this 4-man stack, and it's allowed them to stay pretty even experience, actually. If you just don't die against this 4-stack, sure, it's kind of annoying in the early game, and you will be losing out on some forts and whatnot, but as you get heroics, it becomes much easier to try and capitalize on top of them. So I don't hate the build at all.
No, it's working out so far for Anubarak. Maybe he'll go to Locust Swarm?
Sure.
Lauber, actually, we did have a Locust Swarm victory in Nations Cup qualifier. It was Lauber. He actually got a kill chasing someone down. One of the Locusts got the last hit. So Locust Swarm, 100% win rate. There you go. Play it in your own Storm League game.
Locust Swarm is one of those heroics that kind of comes and goes. People go, oh yeah, it is pretty good. And then they realize, maybe number advantages are better. It's one of those rare times when like a hero has a heroic that can kind of just be flavor of the month, and based on what you want to try and do in a team fight, which I think is really, really cool. Unaverted, working on this top side, and they do have the forts to help out, so they should be able to clear this out. Chen doing a great job, though, of just not dying to Zeratul with the Abathur hat, and all the attention's been there. If you keep looking at the minimap in the bottom right corner, Zeratul is constantly in his face. But this has allowed for Sweden to say, okay, we have our 4v3, let's keep it going. And with you having the Night Camp here, remember that Wizard provides a 20 spell shield to the entire team. So you just keep pushing, and there's nothing you do. Look at Madara. Madara's getting as many auto as he can here, and finally is just now breaking through with poison. But that fort's already down to half HP, and 10s have hit.
10s have hit. Chen's in bottom lane, prepping for the objective phase. If Chen can get on this, and he will easily, that's going to be bottom lane fort falling as well. A double fort is actually, excuse me, all forts are going to be gone in just a moment. The outer layers of defenses have been removed for the United States. But is this something that they fear? I've always been told that forts only hold you back.
Who told you that? Did you pay for coaching? You got robbed.
Khaldor. Nah. I'm gonna get another death stare soon. I can feel it. I can feel the presence.
In some way, yeah, I can meet you halfway. In some way, yeah, they do hold you back, right?
Yeah, right.
They're a safety net. You don't need safety nets to exceed in life. But the issue with it being a Sky Temple is the map is open up, and there's a full engage coming in. It is going to be a web straight on top of the Garrosh. Wandering Keg comes out. They're locking them down on the left side, making sure that the Anubrak is able to go for full CC. However, Lunara is starting to shred through these lines slightly, but Stukov comes in, provides the heal, and Sweden looks unscathed from that fight.
With the 4 and 7 from Lunara, there's great burst ability from Madara being able to get that poison stack, and then of course the Blossom Swell and Noxious Blossom.
Combo.
Oh my god, I will never compliment Madara again, but actually Gia does fall. That's 1 stack of the Gambit to go down. Liam, oh, that's going to be a combo. Yeah. Clone. I was like, wait a second.
I mean, it's still experience that goes over to them with that pickoff, but you know, keeping the aggression up, that allowed for the rest of the United States to move out. As you noticed, Zeratul immediately went to the middle, and they're going to try and grab some of these turrets, because without Lunara, they don't have the damage, right? You can't do much. They had to walk away.
Save the front gate with Mule, going to heal that back up. Here still chilling in mid, just grabbing experience where they can to keep this equal. And honestly, it is still very equal. It's 1-to-1 in kills, slight experience over the side of Sweden, but there's still waves to be cleared around the map. So this is kind of fake lead, if you will.
It's going to be a boss grab down here in the middle. I need to watch Zeratul. Yeah, is Kier going to rotate down?
No, I think he's going for fort or something. I just, with Wandering Keg and everything available, Expulsion Zone.
Yeah.
The assumption is the United States is at least cooldown counting some of these. In Expulsion Zone, they have to be like, look, we can't step in. Expulsion Zone's just going to... We don't have a way to step through it.
Yeah, and with Wandering Keg, too, it's so hard to get in there. So they're going to go and get that up. Instead, the 4 is being focused down the right corner. And there is some good news for the United States. They can actually scale up in the late game. Lunara at level 13 or level 16 gives her a lot more power spikes. And then, of course, you move into Zeratul, who's always a menace at 16 and then 20 in particular. So that is coming. And then you have Abathur, of course, with the double symbiote hat, right? These are things that are going to be helpful, but you do have to get to that late game.
Well, that's exactly the point that I was going to bring up next. The way that Sweden is pressuring and playing, there might not be a late game in map 2 for United States. Big lurking arm from Stukov. He's got the virulent reaction for the root. Liam did clone that Lunara, so she's the low health pool Lunara is not one to really worry about. Boss down to 50%. Kira poking on Henning here and there.
Skulk does get hit with the web. Just kind of locks him down there, but Lobber able to get him out. Just they can't find the fight they're looking for. Liam finally will get picked off. Kira goes to the back line, but is able to teleport away. But Sweden is just a diesel truck right now, and they have all the fuel in the world. They do not care. Look at this. Fortifying Brew dropping those heals on everybody, providing them shields. Zarya just eating damage. Unstoppable comes out when Unaverted tries to go in. They're playing with their food.
That's a Warlord's challenge. I don't think it connected onto Legacy, who's able to dash away to Unaverted. Brandon still maybe looking to tap well. No, just going to Hearth out by the keep, and this is bottom lane to fall. Double objective phase coming up. Look at Abathur's positioning.
Yeah.
Liam is really trying to pressure up these waves. I'm just trying to... Oh, he's still going W. He's going for the Soma, I think is at level 13, which is the heal, and then 16, I believe, gives you the slow.
Yeah, he was just trying to body soak that. He just wasn't going to get too much pressure there. Maybe a Locust here and there, but he wanted to soak it, seeing that all 5 on the bottom left. And with there to be no globals, why not? It's not really a risk. And you're not going to get picked off. If anything, maybe you pull off a couple of people, and that allows for your team to hold off. However, that did not occur. The keep was picked up. And Sweden at this point they're okay with trading a 1-for-1. We'll take bottom. Yeah. We get a fort, you get a fort, but here's the thing, we have more forts than you, so we're winning the game. Sure, we'll take it. Smile.
Damage on keep over damage on forts, yeah, absolutely. Siege Giants in the bottom lane favoring Sweden as well. Zeratul looking to steal away this camp. Kira, though, he's got to be cautious here. Zarya does show, and Kira says, I'm out.
Yeah. With Expulsion Zone being available, even if he was low on HP, he would have abandoned that immediately.
Also, Rain of Vengeance, too. You get locked in place, and that's a dead Zeratul. Last few shots ran into the bottom lane fort, favoring United States, dropping that down to about 75%.
So, with keeping catapult pressure on the bottom side, there is one fort for the taking. There won't be a boss for a couple of minutes. We didn't actually might kind of stall out a little bit here, and that will give time for United States to push in for that level 16. They are grabbing the Night Camp to the top right, but as you can see, they're just kind of soaking themselves up as well with Zarya in the middle. Stukov in a safe place for this Shen. This is kind of one of the issues with this composition. Is you're very good at barreling down and taking forts and keeps, but what do you do after you take the forts and keeps? You can't just run into a core, especially on this map.
Well, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you want to, you definitely can, Sweden. Give that free win to
Darude,
NA, yeah.
he's a menace, man. He will just dance on you all day on that core. Remember that special...
Uh-oh.
They got the Avatar! Something
Slug down.
Usually reserved for stealthy characters, but Sweden sneakily walked in the middle of the lane and leaves and gets picked off. And I've been there, it happens. But that leaves this entire wall in the middle open to be burned down.
Cocoon on Zarya. Lauber gets the Warlord's challenge and pops his Indomitable as well. Groundbreaker stuns out Madara for but a moment. Fortifying Brew with enough to share. That's why everyone's got a little bit of extra shielding from Chen's 4-leaf Clover. Bottom lane catapults, it's still 50%, so this mid lane keep is being poked at.
This is really cool, though. Look at what Kier's doing. He's actually stopping the mid.
He's been doing this throughout the game, too. I love this. Yeah, denying the waves.
This composition is so compact, it wants to stay together from Sweden, and it excels in that result. Oh, Kier maybe getting locked out. Gia going for the kill, goes for the Hungering Arrow, and finds pickoff. Liam, who's currently in the Ultimate Evolution form of a Zeratul, is on the backside trying to deal with what Kier was doing earlier. Mule will come out as well, but with no Zeratul here, suddenly that front line, that potential of a back line is no longer there, and Sweden steps up and capitalizes. That will be the second keep going down in the game.
Zeratul dead for 20 seconds. I love what Sweden's doing. They took out a keep. Instead of just going core, Chen pushes up top lane, they take out a mid lane keep, double objective phases up. You split your party, put half or some on mid, some on top, you win the game. Because these two temples will end. They'll take down keep, they'll take down core.
This is getting really scary. I'm starting to think the United States is out, right? Like, they got to make something happen here, and they're probably going to try and go for one last heroic team fight and just try to force the issue. It's going to be a full burrow charge into a Cocoon on a target. They've been trying to focus Garrosh, but they've been changing it to Zarya lately, and I don't hate the Zarya exchange. Here we go. Kier goes in, goes for a greater cleave, locks him down. There's a taunt. Rain of Vengeance. He didn't even have a chance. He gets deleted. Here's the web. Can Madara do anything here? He steps up with a couple of leaping strikes, but the damage is just not enough. Skog able to survive, and there's healing coming right behind it.
Unaverted is trying to back away. That W build, as I mentioned, he's got that mound speed when he pops his Carapace, and Henning Chen. Okay, there you go. That should be game right there. I don't think there's a way, unless they step onto this.
Temples are getting kind of low. There's going to be 4 shots apiece. I think it'll go down to about, it'll be like 40%, 50%, something like that.
I'll bet you €1 they win with these temple shots.
€1, it's like $1. 49%, 45%.
I take it back. Never mind.
down to 28. But close. They can still push in. Technically, it's a elongated win, right?
Yeah, there you go.
If they can get over there. Zeratul is about to be back up. United States is trying to buy time. Chen's already on the core.
And that is going to be United States falling on map number 2. Sweden with a dominant showing so far in this best-of-5 series up against United States, making all of the conversations we've been having look to be moot. Honestly, that's the way to put it. United States is not showing up the way that I'm expecting them to.
I mean, at the same time, also, Sweden is showing some unique drafts that we don't normally see as often.
And Sweden's playing out of their minds,
They're playing together.
Yes,
which is what
that's true. That's a very good point.
Right now, right? And we see this composition with the change of Sylvanas and Vala being slotted out, but the foundation of Stukov, Zarya, and Chen is proving to be quite strong. And now this is something that a lot of teams need to consider, one, either playing, or two, finding a defense for over the next 24 hours, because it looks good. You got to make sure your macro's on point and you got that wave clear.
The macro is... It's just like, I'm trying to think, I'm racking my brain, like, what can NA do? And it doesn't feel like Sweden has an Achilles heel. Their team fights are solid. Their macro is solid. When they do fall behind at points, Sweden is still looking comfortable. They're not in the driver's seat, but they find ways to reel it back over to their favor. This is an uphill battle for NA. We're going to have to let them take a small little break, let them decompress a little bit, figure out what they want to do for map number 3. And while we wait for that, we have a short little interview that we can jump over to.
Well, let's head over to Joy, who will be able to drop down some information and, of course, introduce us to someone new. Let's do it. Welcome back to the Heroes International here in Berlin. We are in the middle of a series, and right now, Sweden is up 2-0 over the United States. Now, game number 1, I would say there was maybe a couple of flubs, but they looked a little bit better. Game number 2 felt like kind of a draft loss, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
But we were talking about this in the break a little bit about the Zeratul VP. Zeratul VP, we were talking about like Lunar with Thornwood Vines might have been a little bit better for poking, or maybe just something else than Lunara, like maybe even like that Gul'dan we were talking about in the draft. So We'll see how NA adjusts into this map number 3 because it is a best of 5, as you all know. It's best of 5s, and you have to win by 3. And Sweden's up 2. We're going to Towers of Doom.
That's right, yeah.
The Raven Lord versus the Gravekeeper, and we've got the Headless Horseman to throw 4 pumpkins into a core.
The lore and everything, man. You know it all.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think if you're Kier going into game number 3, you kind of look at the team and you go, oof, it happens, man. But, we got 3 more games. This is where the reverse can happen. We know that they're capable. We've seen them do well as a team of 4. And, of course, they are the champions of the 2022 Heroes International. So let's see what they can pull it off. For Sweden, man, keep coasting. They're really on top of point. Stay laser focused as we get ready here for game number 3.
So I don't even feel like Sweden's coasting. They're just playing really good Heroes of Storm. Like they're just vibing. They're having a good time. Yeah. And it's just we're in first gear. We don't need to shift. We're just trucking along. There's nothing that's impeding us at this time. But Towers of Doom, it's a map that it's got to be fought till the bitter end.
Sure.
This might be where NA starts to whip out the brooms. They did borrow the brooms from Korea earlier. Korea did put those away as they were trying to get a reverse sweep up against Germany.
Sure, yeah.
So now NA's time has come. Get hype, chat. Get hype, audience. The reverse sweep will begin on Towers of Doom.
You're saying very confirmational things like will happen and whatnot. And I think that's a mentality that you have to have.
Yes, exactly.
In the United States. So far, Sweden has been banning out Urella Tracer. It's been 2-0 so far. The United States opened up with a Stitches ban, which is something that you can see on this map, and Tomb of the Spider Queen usually when you are going to be going for any type of hook shenanigans. Forcing you to pull down those altars allows for Stitches to get those hooks, or at least even tries to deny you from grabbing those shots. So it makes sense to see United States taking that out right away.
The other thing to consider on this map, Medivh. Medivh is such a pain to deal with. The vision, portaling, stealing away camps, and just overall, it's Medivh. But of course, the targeted ban onto Liam's Urel will continue. You don't give Liam Urel, and Sweden recognizes that.
Let's see here. Silva's already been played, so that would be something we're not going to have to deal with. Oh, man, it's so hard to go back.
I know, you have to mentally rack your brain, like, who was played? God, there's been 4 best of 5s. I can't even keep track, but it has been, I think Diablo's still up and available, so Lauber could be leaning into that. We have a Malthael ban as well. Obviously, Cho'Gall's on the way.
Do they ban Diablo here? Maybe leave Tracer open? Kier would love that, but are you fearful of, like, a good tank being on the opposing side? Because, like, Diablo is one of those tanks that's been around for a while and it consistently gets picked up by a lot of teams. Gets better as the game goes forward, and it could be a comfort pick here for Uninverted.
It actually, you are correct with that assumption and knowledge, because Uninverted does have strong Diablo, strong Garrosh, and those have been denied from him consistently. Hogger, though, second Hogger game of the day. He's been banned on a lot of series, but of course, Liam will get Hogger for the double soak top to mid. That's a pretty cool pickup. And actually, the Malthael is kind of annoying to deal with if you're Hogger, too. And
if you're wondering why Hoggers are being picked up now, it was actually banned by the United States in Game 1 and Game number 2, but now seeing there was a pattern for Sweden and what they were going to ban for it, they pinched him into a spot. Either we get Tracer, we get maybe Diablo, or we get Hogger, and they wound up taking Hogger here. Maev and Artanis comes out. We've had a lot of Artanis from Dino, but Artanis being pulled out here for Sweden. Interesting.
There's a lot of really good control from this as well. Maev with Umbro Bind, pulling people around, swap from Artanis. He'll also get himself an Unstoppable if he does land that swap onto an enemy hero, but this is the big one trick. Tyrael Tracer for the side of United States. That's a nice pickup. Those have got to be big wins. The NA players have got to be feeling good about those 2 picks in what they're able to do with a Tracer, sustained damage, and Tyrael poking, even potential steal with the... Well, we don't really see Holy Ground anymore. It's more Sword of Justice every day with the double teleport.
Yeah, Holy Ground's kind of one of those things you pick up if you have like boss control, and there is a boss on Towers of Doom.
And the Sapper camps, too.
Yeah, so being able to grab for objectives is something that you might want to go for. It's just kind of hard to just put Tyrael straight in the middle of a fight. It seems like this is more pokey style, more Zeratul-like.
Yeah.
Kind of really works out for him, and we saw a lot of that from Nick earlier in our earlier matchup. Jaina will be banned out, which gets rid of that Wave Clear and Sergeant Hammer. So far, though, I like the pick for the 1-2 from Sweden in case Tracer was going to be grabbed by Kier. You have Artanis, who actually does pretty well in the Tracer, especially at 13 if he wants to get that spell break shield that pops in there as well. Helps him out that. And then Maev, of course, can jump up and dodge all that damage there. So this leaves their draft open to be able to hand out for what Tracer can come their way, which means the United States has to find a damage dealer that can get more consistent damage later on to deal with this team comp. ETC and Malfurion will be their 3 and 4.
So Artanis is a double soaker then. Interesting.
Or, this might sound crazy, ETC.
You're not crazy.
It could also double soak. Stage dive.
Actually, you could see solo in ETC. There's viability for that, absolutely.
And he's really good at like peeling off Hogger or any other bruiser with his knockback at W, so you can get regen globes and you just slowly etch them out. Even though Hogger has insane sustain, it is one way for ETC to kind of hold his own. Now, that is a hypothetical. We'll have to see how the rest of the draft goes.
Hey, that's a good comfort pick for Madara right there.
Yeah, all about those time traps, right? Which makes it so Kier can be more aggressive. What's really cool about this composition and how they play it is Tracer will be that annoying fly. Obviously, she's always been, but Kier pushes it to the 11, looks to get in that back line. And what happens is you have Chromie constantly putting down time traps behind them, and if they have to come for a recall, it's hard for the opposing team to come in because Tracer can get away and has that peel immediately.
Li Ming to round out the draft for Sweden. Resets are high potential as well. Chromie pretty squishy. Tracer as well. Granted, Tracer does have recall. Kier's a fairly mechanical, savvy player, so he should be reading those arcane orbs and hopefully avoiding those with a recall. But I gotta be honest, I want more games, but it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, United States, they got it. But you know what? I will say, United States, you got it. I believe in you. You can do it. We're going to a game number 4. What do you think?
I mean, I'll put my chest out here. Something needs to change at tank for uninverted.
Excuse me.
He looks like he's waiting for a shot call. And as a tank player, you can't wait for the shot call. You need to be comfortable with your team and moving in. And again, it could be jitters. It could be just because he wants to bleed with his team here. But right now, you need to have what I call FU energy when it comes to playing tank. When you see a call, you need to go for it. And I want to see that from uninverted. If we get that change in attitude from him, United States, I see them coming back and starting to get the series going. But if not, I feel like we're just going to have Lauber and crew run him over.
That's actually, you're dead on with the analysis. The only thing I'll add is I kind of feel like North America needs to take a page out of Germany's book and go for judgment.
Do it.
And just judge the crap out of Sweden. But on the left-hand side, we've got good old USA. Kier playing his Tracer. Liam on his Hogger, unaverted on that Tyrael. Madara on the Chromie, and Legacy will be telling wise old tales on the Deckard Cain.
Oh, I love listening to Cain and his nice rumbly old voice. On the far right, Grotto will be playing Artana, so therefore he will be getting my eyeballs for this match. Skog will be playing my Ev. Gia going to be playing Li Ming, heading on Malfurion and ETC, played by Lauber. And Lauber, first time I actually got to watch him play, it was on ETC. Now, ETC's fallen down a little bit in terms of control. He is actually relatively squishy when you look at tanks because he's so strong with all of his kit that his health bar is just a bit lower than most tanks. But when it comes to Lauber, he knows how to push that envelope, and with Malfurion to back him up, he should be A-okay.
We will also see the Prog Rock at level 1. Once those 20 regeneration globes are gathered by the ETC, he'll be able to give some extra healing to some allies around him. So a little more sustainability. Big thing, too, also for the side of Sweden, Naisha's Memento. Great talent to be able to work down these camps really quickly for the Maiev with that bounce.
So keeping an eye on Liam here. Hogger's obviously a massive playmaker, and I want to see how his rotations will be. They can move into early double soaks, no problem. And Artanis will struggle against that. His Blade Dash, while okay at wave clear, is costly, and eventually we'll get to a point where your mana is so reduced that you can't keep up with Hogger. So Artanis is going to need help from his teammates, and when that happens, when someone peels off to help Artanis based on the wave control, or they fall behind experience, that's when the United States should strike. They should look for those picks, and they have Tracer to scout for them.
Tracer does have her Pulse Bomb up and available. Looking at the level 4, I believe that's the slow for enemies and a speed boost for allies, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Chronic Conditions.
That's right, we had that earlier. Slow by 30% for 3 seconds, and allies gain 30% movement speed for 3 seconds. So, actually, one thing that the United States works on a lot is they try to make sure to follow up on top of these time traps if they get in trouble so they can speed out, because Madara is so aware at watching the team fights. On Inverted, getting in the middle of that fight, love to see that. He does have a bit of a harder time trading, but that allowed for Madara to go ahead and clear out the minion wave, so they should be able to deal with these sappers. Meanwhile, you see Kier peeling off, working on the middle side. They're looking for Artanis. They want to try and get him picked off where they can.
And it's also continued pressure from Liam here. He's doing a great job of clearing out the wave with the help of Tracer in mid. It's actually Maiev who will rotate in and say, okay, we see what you're kind of doing. You're trying to pull someone into mid here, Kier. Well, we're not going to give you what you want. Skog takes a bit of damage. Kier clears out the wave, and this will crash into the fort front gate. Skog easily able to clear this out, but I would assume this rotation's pretty obvious to the side of Sweden. Swampgod has to know this is coming out.
Yeah, and this is where, as Artanis, you go, okay, it's a 1v3. Technically, I could take it on because Artanis is one of the best heroes in the game, but he plays it safe and pulls away. And that Sapper will be a main focus for the United States, right? They want to constantly pressure that top lane. It'll take a while for Artanis to take back that fort. It's kind of interesting how you kind of flop the side a little bit based on how the matchup is. Do have a pretty decent amount of damage coming in from Madara. There we go on Averted. I like the aggression. Steps up. He will get tethered right away, but that's fine. He pushes them back with the help of his teammates, and they're able to get a little map control.
First objective phase will be spawning here. Top left and right is the standard. The RNG is either center and bottom. Will be in the bottom for now. Who's going to reign supreme? I feel like Hogger, Artanis, trade these out in the top. Big contest, of course, will be in the bottom. And really good zoning from North America. United States get the bottom channel, they get the top left, and United States lead by 4 points.
And 4 points, yep, as you mentioned, coming in from Sweden. So you are correct, in a great spot there. Liam will get swapped in here. Drops down his little Tasmanian Devil and is able to get away from the fight down to a quarter HP and will have to tap off. The United States was there to back him up in case they did overchase, but Sweden playing it safe and controlled as they've been doing all day.
Just peeking at the Artanis, just clearing out waves. Same thing in mid lane. It's looking pretty docile for the time being after the objective phase does end. We should have sapper camps not too far off either from being up. Yeah, it looks like 5-6 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds on either side. Those should be not contested. Those should be got really quickly. And a little bit of lag from United States. It seemed like they were like, do we go bottom and soak or do we get the camp? Still going to be quickly done.
I think they were waiting on the Medora call down at level 1 to go ahead and scout their opponents, but ETC is close to finishing his progress. Speaking of current stats, 14 out of the 20 needed to finish it up, and that's where you're going to probably see a lot more aggression from Lauber. He'll be able to help his teammates. Ooh, actually, speaking of aggression, Artanis is down here. They're going for a large flank. Who can they get? Looks like nobody at the moment as they work on the sappers, and Skull gets caught there by a time trap, but this allows for Liam in the top lane to take a small inch and try to run with it.
Swamp Grotto was scouted out by the Tom Walker's Pursuit, so that was the really nice utilization of Chromie's level 1. Swamp gets chunked by the Pulse Bomb, but Henning's got heals, and it's all okay.
Still, man, that's one thing that you want to be careful with when it comes to Artanis. You want to try and get the shield procced in there, and Kira noticed that he just used it. Swap comes in, Kira able to blink away for the second.
He's fine. He's out.
Look at this.
Liam, though, does get a ton of siege value in top lane, taking down the fort front gate. Next objective phase will be center of the map in 10 seconds. No 10 talent here for that one just yet. Will the teams contest it before 10, or will they wait for it?
I mean, the big news story there, too, as well with that camp being opened up, is the sappers will still be deadly, and Hogger can grab those at any point due to him being able to whirlwind around and cleared up. Henning in a position here where he's been sieged down. I think we actually had a hit there from Madara. Nice job. Kier, however, trying to kite to his teammates, gets a shield at the last second, moves in for more damage. Skog trying to move in here. I don't think he has his tether, though. Has to jump up and bounces away.
Temporal Loop connects onto Skog, gets the Pulse Bomb to the face, and NA gets first blood on Towers of Doom.
The triangle comes out, too.
Double kill.
It could be more as well. Granta low. Ooh, turns around and gets a blade dash. Tracer actually will fall, and this unit is actually slightly low here. Gia's able to get the interrupt. Can he get more? Trying to go for Liam, but slightly missing out on those magic missiles, and the United States get more shots. 36-28 as we move to level 10.
This is shaping up to be a nice momentum for North America on map number 3, a critical map. The loser of this map, well, if North America will lose this map, they'll drop into the lower bracket, but if they, of course, win, that we continue in this best of 5, that reverse sweep looking so promising. But of course, it's Towers of Doom. It's not over till the Grave Lord or the Raven Keeper did that backwards. Either way, when one of them falls.
I will say the mentality has certainly changed a lot here for the United States. Kira being able to be on a position where he's on a character that he just dominates on is helping, and Unaverted is able to constantly keep dancing in and in. Look at this movement. He's doing a great job of holding on. Oh, hang on, though. Getting chronically locked on the side here. Stay on Willis and comes off as well. Temporal Loop here on Gia. Gia goes in for some damage. A potion's on the ground here. He's trying to zone them out. Lauber with a beautiful knockback. Oh my gosh, Madara down to 30 HP, down to 40. He actually gets away, and Maya gets picked up by Tracer as well as Gia.
Madara lives, Cure pops off with the double kill, and our next objective phase, center and bottom, and sappers to be grabbed. 4, United States.
Okay, this is looking good here. This is setting us up for a long series. We can keep up this type of aggression. Sweden will now have to wait for the moment to try and get themselves set up. However, that will be a window for United States to push in the bottom lane with those sappers, or even grabbing the other camp at the top left, which will start to whittle down that fort. And with all the walls being open now, if another thing happens like that, where Sweden loses 2 to 3 members, that will be a fort being taken down. And you know how important that is on Towers of Doom.
Controlling the bottom lane is one of the most important things. It hinders the enemy from getting into some of the rotations. For example, if bottom lane was held by an opposing team, that bottom objective phase would be a lot more difficult to rotate in, since you have to come through either the sapper camp or directly through mid lane vertically.
Sweden coming in from the top side on north, goes for a swap. Uninverted will be able to dash on out there thanks to that movement speed. Healing potions coming out from Legacy, and one more altar was grabbed on the south. So Sweden now in a position here where they're fighting for one altar.
Cure trying to get the channel on this, mounts up, plays off towards the side of the lane, waiting to see who steps in. 13 talent tier, slowly but surely being achieved by United States. Either Sweden has to pull the trigger and go for a fight, or they have to give this, I feel.
They have to soak, but you're right. In terms of waves, things are looking a little rough for them. Even the top side wave is about to be pushing in. Middle side at the same time. Skog finally steps up, starts the channel, dodges out Madara. Unstoppable comes out from Liam, is able to whirlwind away, but that is on cooldown now, and Lauber wants to take this opportunity to step up. Sees no power slide available and has to retreat.
All heroics are up and available. Mosh actually in a few seconds. Looks like it might have been put on a 10-second cooldown from a stun earlier. Druin's Might near the bush. Legacy going for the channel. Can Gia get an interrupt, or will unaverted Brandon be able to body block? Not even necessary. 4 more shots into the core of Sweden. 36 to 20.
Just a bit too far away from that 13. So this had to pull off. Artan's got topside, and he actually, Maev, snuck up to the north side to start working on these sappers. And the idea here is not really to get too much pressure on that top side, although that would be nice. It's more of a denial, right? With their fort being exposed in the top right corner, they know that Hogger is going to be hard to break through for Artanis, so I like that play for them. And also gets them closer towards 13, as the sappers were still on cooldown to the south side of the map.
Skog able to clear out most of the way, but will lose some of the fort front gate in mid lane. Hogger manages the sappers in top. They don't get a charge. Bush party, Swamp. I think he's fine. Oh, maybe he's not. That Holy Ground's going to make things difficult. Suppression Pulse buys a window. Great Blade Dash. I think it avoided the Shockwave, but still another kill to NA, 5-1.
If he was able to hit that War Prism, he was out. His team was trying to rotate towards him, but that stopped him from getting auto attacks in, which would have maybe saved him if he got his shield built up once again. Regardless, United States able to find a pick, a quick turnaround. Legacy in the bush by himself puts everyone to sleep. Chromie's not in a position. Lauber going for the flank. Is he by himself? It does look like it, and Sweden bites back with a kill of their own.
That old man's going to go back to the retirement home for a little bit right now as 4 more shots go into the core. Hey, wait a minute, Trick. You're never supposed to take boss unless it's game-winning. What are they doing?
Apparently their brains are too big for us. They grab a few more shots, and that puts their opponents down to 36 to 16. They use the old man as bait, which is not a sentence I would normally say.
That's fair, yeah.
Finally be able to get him here. Cure actually going for a recall, and so I've got to try to catch him with the Blade Dash a hair off. But now this top lane is starting to become a bit of an issue. Artanis is doing everything he can to hold it, but this is where his weakness is. He doesn't have the wave clear, whereas Liam will be able to continue to siege it.
Speaking of siege in bottom lane, we've got minion wave pushed up into the fort. Not Sanctification. The Holy Ground out from Tyrael splits the wave a little bit. But I do think this is going to be 4 shots into the core of USA, and that's okay. 32 to 16, we're still comfortable here. Not we, sorry. They're comfortable. I got no investment in this.
Couple of shots there, and that's where you can start those Memphis comebacks, right? 1 win at a time. United States, on the other hand, has hit 16, has a full power level with their opponents, and all 5 are starting to group up. Remember that Temporal Loop is here for Chromie. Containment Disc comes out and does not connect. The Skog doesn't mind. He was just trying to use it for appeal. He doesn't want this fight.
It's a very low cooldown as well. It's already at 30 seconds, so be available in the next fight, but still, 3/4 of a level to go or so for the side of Sweden. It's going to be rough for them to close that gap, waiting for the waves to crash in while North America gets camps and stuff, but we just got the camp at the top of the map spawning.
I like this movement of like bouncing between bottom and the top side. It's a bit of a commitment, but if you have the lead, you can afford to do so. And if you ever kept Swamp Granta potentially overstepping like he did that one time, you get a kill and you take a fort here. Now, he's learned his lesson, and he's actually just sitting next to the tower waiting for the minions to come to him. But these sappers are going to get some damage in.
I won't take down the fort, I don't believe. That's actually kind of low. With the minion wave and the sappers, it is possible to maybe take over the top lane, but a huge rotation from Sweden will deny any of that.
They know, man. That right there is their
call.
Achilles heel, right? They have to clean that up. So they do so. 3 altars spawning.
12 shots available. Boss is still a few minutes away, so I don't think that's something that's on the table for NA to get all 3, then go boss. It'd be wild if they were able to do even that. And I would expect this to be a 2-for-1 trade. Sweden should get the top right. NA maybe gets the center.
I'm getting those Dahaka vibes we had in Game 1 from Stormgranta. Now Liam's a Dahaka. He's just unstoppable at the moment, unable to get caught. Time Trap comes out. Madara goes in for a shot. Doesn't connect with him. Has to play safe because Lauber is doing what you should do as a tank player is you try to run at the Chromie. You're not trying to force a fight or anything, but you're trying to slow down her siege potential. One altar grabbed from Hogger on the top left, and suddenly Artanis in this weird position where he's pinched off by Tyrael and Hogger. Does have suppression pulse if he needs to delay. He goes for it. He gets to delay. At the same time, on the bottom side, Sweden is trying to fight their way into a Chromie, and it's so difficult here. Finally, a power slide on the Tracer. She goes for the recall. Do they have any more? Down to 100 HP. Sanification to follow up. They turn the fight. Lauber goes for a mosh pit, but he's taken out too.
No dance party for Lauber. Tracer does fall. Maev also to be taken down in this engagement. It's a 2-for-1 favoring the side of United States. The stay well and listen tells no tale, but Decker Kane will be able to get 4 more shots. Top right is still up and available for contest. Brandon did tap well on the Tyrael, and now the run-in. Liam looking for the delay, gets it with the bounce.
Great angle there. In a position, too, where he also hits Malfurion. Hitting can't really do much here. And Li Ming certainly can't kill him off. Too much of a health bar. Tyrael also going for the hard dive, and Artanis locked into a corner. And the United States are able to grab 2 of the altars and are looking for the 3rd. Will they get it? Yes, they do. Total of 12 shots coming in, and 4 left for Sweden. They are on their last rope.
4 HP to 32, but this is where Towers of Doom, it all flips over. We're going to have a 4-4 game in about 20... No, it's looking really good for NA here. They're playing an absolute stellar game. The Artanis actually feels a little wonky.
Gia going in. Skog here as well. Holy Ground comes in, it's enough to grab it. ETC locked down with the time loop. He gets blown up at the same time. Sweden thought that they had to get a fight. They needed something for it to work out, and the United States answers back perfectly. Sieging from the side is Madara as well as Skog gets down on low on HP. Artanis is finally here, but can he help with these sappers in the bottom lane? They're going to take this fort. Oh my gosh, such a terrifying spot for Sweden. This game is looking like it might just be over.
The brooms are out. Boss is up in 15 seconds. ETC dead for 22. Li Ming dead for 25. This might actually just be the end of it. Aldruin's might to check the bush. Unaverted sets up over here. Brandon waiting to see if anyone tries to sneak in. And Boss spawning. Sweden knows. Sweden knows they're going to step in with this down 2 members.
Henning going to try and keep Artanis alive. Suppression Pulse give him a little bit of time to pour a loop. Completely deleted. Pull back multiple times there by Chromie. Tower getting sieged. Skog on the way here. We'll have to go for a possible full engage. Let's see, even doing a quick preemptive stay a while. Listen, Skog goes in, but it's too late. And the United States able to pull out a W here, 32-0, and we got a series on our hands.
Well done, USA. Absolutely. Draft win, execution win. They played that so well. I feel like United States got everything they wanted and more out of that game.
Yeah.
Really, I got to be honest. Artanis is great and all. I don't like him for that solo lane. I didn't see where the pieces fell together. It kind of seems like Sweden's draft was a little haphazard. Maybe they flubbed something in the draft and they tried to recover it towards the end.
Sure.
But I really wasn't a fan of the draft and how it was executed. But of course, it's a best of 5. There's still many more maps to go.
It could be a couple of things here too as well, because now we also know that Tracer and Hogger, those are incredible characters in general and are usually drafted pretty well. Maybe they were like, you know what, just pick Artanis and we throw away a draft spot. We don't have to waste a good character for the future, right? Because Hogger is going to beat out most matchups. Leoric or Blaze are usually who you face off against him, but those are unavailable. So pick up Artanis, and as much as it pains me to say it, just take the sack and go into game number 4.
That's fair.
Now, that could, of course, be high-level wrinkle brains. It is a possibility. I just want to put it into your mind and plant it. The other part of this, though, too, is I have to give kudos to the United States. They look so much more confident, uninverted, playing Tyrael, able to move up, knew his positioning, knew what he had to do, and that freed up Cure on Tracer to constantly be aggressive. And then, of course, Madara with his... actually, when you think about it, Tracer and Chromie, those are like their stable characters that we've seen a lot for the United States that they kind of frag on, right? Whenever it comes to the draft. So getting those 2 out of the way, way, it shows, one, United States excels at those characters, but two, it put Sweden in a spot where now they don't have to deal with them in the future.
That's very true. There are teams that even during the qualifiers for Nations Cup were saying, okay, it's a best of 5. We have a really weird draft at the start. We're kind of throwing away this game. And they drafted 5 really good assassins.
Sure.
So the rest of the series, they just weren't avaavail. And
another layer to this game, right?
There are layers to this onion. Heroes of the Storm.
All right, Shrek.
Like an onion.
Get off my swamp.
Exactly. Well, that's what NA's doing right now. They're saying, Sweden, get off our swamp. And where are we going to be going?
Let's see if we have... Oh, we do have our map. One that we have not seen yet. You've already guessed. I'm going to give the chat a second to think about what map that we haven't seen yet that would be picked. I'll give you 1, 2, 3. You can type it in. There you go. You did it. Smile. It's going to be Dragonshire.
Oh, let's go. Dragonshire. It's a very unique map because the top lane feels a bit like an island. You do get some gank rotations up there from things like Genji, but that's not available in this. Falstead's already been played, if I'm not mistaken, in this series, so we're not going to see any sort of flights. Tahaka's gone, so the top lane's going to be interesting. You know what I'd love to see in the top lane? A Rex Armisha. It's so much fun.
I think you are onto a point that I was going to bring up as well, is like now we have the option to bring up some top laners that can be very annoying by themselves because that top lane is so weird. You want to defend that Bermuda Triangle if you're the tank, so you have a hard time rotating in. Most of the time you pick Muradin, but Muradin's already been picked up, and so now you have tanks that are kind of isolated and stuck down there. Suddenly a character, I know it's going to sound a little crazy, a little weird, but it's something that you have to consider when it comes to these drafts. Zagara is suddenly a character that can be played. There's no globals available. Falstead's already been... actually, was Falstead playing in the series? Because if Falstead's available, you wouldn't want to
I said it, but I was like, I don't remember.
It was last series, I think. But regardless, globals are something that you're scared of when you're playing Zagara. You're also scared of mobile tanks that can jump around, but Muradin's gone. So suddenly that option becomes much more accessible and usable. Throw down some creep tumors, and if you don't have any dashes to deal with, Zagara skedaddles out of there, no problem.
The creep speed is fantastic. Her summonables make sieging just through the roof.
And she's okay in team fights now because for some reason before Blizzard gave up on all of us, they gave her a level 13 that is just destructive when it comes to percent damage. So like she's a pretty solid character now if you have the draft that is available for it. So we are getting ready for our draft. We'll be starting up here in a minute. Is there anything else that you would like to see that could be pulled out here? Because remember, we're in game 4 now.
Oh man, there's so many... Gul'dan's really fun for poking because you have the ability to spam Fel Flames into those bushes.
And he's great around the giants in the bottom right. Like he likes tight corridors. Like even Kael'thas is suddenly good in this scenario.
That was actually where my brain went. Kael'thas and Ragnaros, or excuse me, well, I also want Ragnaros, but Kael'thas and Gul'dan, but also I think Jaina hasn't been played either, and Jaina's fantastic for this map. Slows to be able to sustain the chase into enemies, and then maybe you find some sort of auto attacker that also can sustain the chase and maybe have some sort of burst within their kit. Has Greymane been played in this?
No, he hasn't in this.
So there you go. That's what I'm like. I'm thinking like Jaina and Greymane. You get that slow. You have the sustained damage. Even Jaina Raynor if they want to go for it.
I like the Jaina and Kael'thas as an idea as well because this is a map that excels at the bouncing between the middle and the bottom side. So you have region globe talents up right? So like you have things going for these characters that can really pay off if you're able to work together as a team. I think I would probably want to see it more from the Swedes than I would like to see it from the United States. The United States, I think they need to give a character to Kier that just allows him to just be obnoxious and in the front line. Like I would love to see him on a Greymane, right? Like it's something that he would excel at. He knows how to find these small moments. Okay, here we go. Yrel banned out once again for Sweden. Yeah, if they left open Yrel on this map, I would be disappointed in them and say you deserve to lose.
But on your point, you were saying you want to give Kier something where he can just do Kier things. Yeah, and that's what I'm looking to see from the side of the United States as well. But of course, these bans are going to be slightly telling in where we're heading from, at least the side of the United States. Or you know what? It might just be kind of the same bans we've been seeing throughout the series.
Which has been Yrel and then Tracer for Sweden,
Diablos
but Tracer's
now
been dealt
Sergeant
with.
Hammers.
So now that second ban is up and available, but yes, you're right, Diablo has been taken care of.
You know also what works on this map?
Kerrigan Arthas?
That yeah, of course, but also Stitches and Medivh too.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, and that we've both of us been talking, well, where's the Stitches?
And then Sergeant Hammer is great in the bottom lane here. Alarak becomes a possibility too. We used to have actually in the old Korean meta, they would run a 4-1, but typically the 4-1 was you would have one up top and the 4 bounce between the two. You'd actually put Alarak by himself in the bottom lane and go like the electrocute build. Rich Hot's actually.
Yeah.
And then you would have the 4 bounce around between the night camp and the top side, and it's actually pretty scary. Sergeant Hammer will get banned out for our second ban, so Diablo, Hammer, Whitemane, and Yrel unplayable for this match.
You brought up that Alarak, and now I'm just thinking, Alarak is really nice for this map. Control is extremely good with telekinesis. You can check bushes with it. Same with the Discord Strike as well.
And he suffers in like straight 5v5s, and Dragonshire isn't all about the 5v5s, right? It's all about stretching your team and working together across the map, so he just works there.
Getting your Dragonite and then sieging mid with Dragonite, solo laner pushes top, and the rest of your team focuses bottom. First pick, Falstead. So there it is, Falstead coming out from Sweden. That's just a stellar pick to start out. Gust. You could go Q build, but we've actually been seeing Falsteads go auto attack build all day, which is refreshing and nice.
Yeah. They naturally work in the 4-man, right? And a lot of the team fights have been very based on like what we've been having in a lot of our drafts, so Falstead excels in that regard. Stitches and Medivh, you brought it up earlier.
Haha!
Pick up for the United States. So the Kidnap comp, the Milk Carton comp, many names for making people disappear.
But we'll just call them, United States, we'll just call them baby Houdinis.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right, I'm cool with that.
But now we get into that discussion. Okay, how are you going to blow them up? Do you go into that Jaina? Do you go into that Kael'thas? Do we see a Madara exclusive and see maybe Orphea?
Sure. Yeah.
Crushing Jaws. I don't know about Eternal Feast, but Crushing Jaws for more CC. She's got a lot of mobility as well. The May Kerrigan with the Falstad, I do like this a lot for Sweden as well. Nice blinds.
Brings in the slows. May's been played a couple of times today as well.
And Lauber looked good on it earlier.
So I like the idea of Kerrigan and Falstad. It stretches Medivh thin. He also has to keep an eye on Kerrigan, so that opens up the window for another damage dealer later on if they need to bring in that focus. Like what you want to do is act like you're going to go hard on one person, save a couple of cooldowns, and then immediately switch it up. Ooh, a Tronda,
I love that.
man.
I love that. Because... like, yeah, you can go Tyrande with Stitches and Medivh, but also Tyrande would work really well with Sweden on top of it. You've got her Huntress Mark, you've got the CC from the Lunar Flare, Scouting with the Sentinel, and then also you got Harsh Moonlight later on, which reduces movement speed, so you can chuck a Sentinel at Stitches as he's running away and slow him down, denying a little bit of the runaway. So I think this is actually quite a heads-up ban from United States to take out the Tyrande. Also, they might know something we don't about Tyrande for Henning.
I'm trying to look back here. We had an Uther earlier already, right?
In this series? Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Yeah, we did have a Uther already, and that was played by Sweden. I was going to say, Uther would be great here for the United States. You want to have someone that can lock down the hook target, right? So it's usually been Malfurion or Uther, something that's more click and point. Ana can do it. It's just harder because of the skill shot, so you got to make sure your timing's on point.
But it's Legacy, too. So.
That is Legacy. He's been killing in that regard. Cassio will be the fourth to bring in some damage. Help out the isolation. You move in for your auto attacks and do a quick fan, and you can delete anyone there, especially if you go for the
what if it's a double fishing composition? What if they're fishing with two hooks?
Oh,
and
and
they go Valkyrie, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ball Lightning is insane. 20 talent here with the Infinite. You can play volleyball with everybody. Let's go. I love the Alexstrasza. I love the Rexar. This is such a fun draft from Sweden. I don't think it just wins out, but it's a very fun draft.
What's the top lane going to be? What are you going to do, Liam? This is Malphite?
Diva's up. You could go into Kira. That's like a niche sort of counter into Rexar that people have talked about.
Hard.
It's hard. It's definitely hard, but it'll be Deathwing instead. Okay.
All right. Wow, interesting. Gosh, this is when the game gets so interesting. It like makes me want to push into a game 5 to see what
Oh, I'd love a game 5
the
today.
player's going to pull off, because we have yet to have a full best-of-5 series. But here in game 4, we've got a good one lined up with us. What do you think, Bahamut?
I like the Kidnap comp. It's Medivh. It's annoying to deal with. I think NA has the tools to take us to a game 5. Sweden's a tough team to beat. I have a lot of faith in Sweden that they can win it. But I'm going to say NA, because not only am I going to root for NA, give them a little bit of support, but I also want a game 5. I know everyone at home wants a game 5. I know everyone here wants a game 5, and we're going to get into Dragonshire in just a moment. Trick, what are you thinking about this Dragonshire map number 4?
I like May, and I like Falstad already being here against such as Medivh, because you can kind of make some plays here where it's like, hey, if May gets picked off, you can kind of anticipate when the engage is going to happen, drop an ice block in the middle of the fight, wait for your team to show up, Mighty Gust, and walk away. But I think this does come down to Lauber and how well he can handle that front line, right? And if he can't do it, I actually like what United States has here. Dragonshire is one of those maps where it's pretty easy to find a couple of picks and get a couple of engages. Here we go, into the match on the far left. Bahamut, the honor is yours.
USA doing their best to bring it to a map number 5 here through Dragonshire. Unaverted playing the Stitches. Cure on that Medivh. Yes, Cure on Medivh. That's interesting. Liam will play the Deathwing. Mater on the Cassia. And Legacy, shooting, sniping on the Ana.
Swamp Grunta playing Rexar on the far right in the red. Gonna have Lobber on May, Skog on Falstad, Gia on Kerrigan, and Henning showing us Alex Straza. Let's see how his Dragon Roars are able to pull it off against the United States. Actually, Dragon versus Dragon.
Roar.
Deathwing versus Alex Straza. Who is supreme?
Probably Deathwing.
I mean,
since he's always a dragon.
He's kind of a big deal, and he has like a whole cinematic and things. It's kind of a thing. I think Khaldor even said Deathwing all the way.
Oh, that's what he was. That's what he was nodding over here. Okay, all right. Well, we'll have to see how it all unfolds. Liam with a big old Molten Flame on the minion wave, clearing that out quickly. He'll probably swing all the way to top as Ana, Madara have portal down to bottom for a quick lane clear.
Yeah, this is an advantage of Medivh that should be used, and I would say even exploited as much as possible. Just portal over the triangle. You don't have to worry about anyone sitting in there trying to pick you up. You just go straight to the wave clear, which is like the name of the game of Dragon Shire. At the same time in the top lane, Deathwing will do pretty well into Misha. He's got some pretty good wave clear as long as he has that rage bar up, to the point where Swamp Grunta might just leave Misha on the side and try to pick off whatever he can, but never force the issue.
We saw this earlier today, the auto attack Falstad into Deathwing, and that is exactly what's happening here. I'm a little worried late game Falstad into Deathwing, how much Skog will be able to really shred through that health pool.
Deathwing's a weird character because like he feels so strong and powerful, and then you suddenly get a little % damage, and it's like, oh, this character just like gets deleted. Like you want to move in, drop a couple of abilities, try to get off your fear or even your ultimate, and then just kind of waddle away as quickly as possible and refly in. But even those auto attacks being used on Deathwing can be good for your team, especially with someone like Cassia who puts out a lot of damage quickly. If you can just keep people off of her and put your focus on Deathwing, it's still a win for the team.
Cassie also going into those Thunderstrokes at level 1, already 4 stacks. We'll keep an eye on those as the game does progress. 6-4 the Falstad already, and nothing crazy out of the ordinary. No globes for the Alex Straza. She'll go Live and Let Live. Great Bond movie, though.
Did not expect that reference out of nowhere. Yeah. Bottom lane is grabbing this Night Camp as Sweden's grabbing this early. This is actually something that you don't see as often unless you know exactly where your opponents are at. And with Medivh not following them around, they try to use that small moment to open up the map themselves. So that'll give them some towers down here on the bottom left. And one thing you want to do against the Stitch's composition that people don't really think about is you want to get rid of that wall. If you get rid of that wall, then it's much easier for you to walk out, even if it's a side wall. And this Night Camp gives them that ability to do so with them working on the turret and even get some damage on that gate.
Gia continues to do as much double soaking as possible due to the fact of the level 4 that rat. Oh wait, hold on, that's a combo onto Medivh. We've got 8 stacks. Are they going to be gone? Falstad finds the kill and 8 stacks go down the drain. First blood to Sweden.
Dude, great play there by Lobber. First off, the Kerrigan combo obviously locked him down. That was a force of will, and then he was about to teleport out, but Lobber came skiing on in and knocked him away from the portal for 1 second, which is enough to apply more damage, and then Falstad followed in and gave the auto attacks off. Medivh, one of these characters, man, where he feels impossible to kill, but if you know his timings and you exploit them, you will find those kills more often than not.
Unaverted, Brandon getting poked at a little bit here in the mid lane, mounting up and backing on off. 7 talents here will be a slightly faster for Sweden, but I think that's just relative to some of the soaking that we still have to have from United States. Cure drops down onto the bottom lane. The Moonshrine, Misha's trying to hold top, but Deathwing's got that under control.
They're close enough here where they should be able to deny the Shrine from being grabbed. They just want to make sure they grab the Night Camp. That's been the name of the game for me, actually.
Cure get this? No. Swamp Grotto's here. Okay, never mind.
Little bit too late. Lobber even going for a preemptive snowball just to make sure nothing occurred. That Night Camp will be pushing on that top side, but the name of the game is getting to level 10, right? United States wants to get that 10. Usually we see a lot of Citrus players being willing to go into Putrid Vial, but I think this has got to be a Gorge composition, right? Like, it looks too good for it.
Right. It's so built around Gorge that if Putrid Vials pick up, it feels as if a misclick is happening. Also, Gift of the Embalmer at level 20 is nice, but that's also, I don't know, there's better talents at level 20 for Stitches. What's going on right now in bottom lane? Big poke onto Lobber. He's forced to tap well, and United States continue to hold down here while Liam has to clear out top, and he doesn't seem that pressured by Falstad, Misha, and Rexar.
Yeah, he's just trying to get rid of this wizard here on the back right. But that wall was opened up, which means the next Night Camp becomes a little bit more deadly. You can get about half that fort, especially with the aid of Misha. We do have Lobber trying to be locked down and body blocked. Ooh, a hook comes out. All right, Unaverted, I see you, man. So far, every hook that he's thrown out, he's been able to connect it. The anti-heal comes in to make sure that there's no healing connecting. That is one main issue that Alex Straza will have to consider. Throwing down that Circle of Hope, and a nade comes in and you just stop all those big heals. But that would become easier to deal with when she gets her dragon form and is able to have more cooldowns popping out.
I like how Liam's swapping into Destroyer form. He's going for a bit of a different build here, trying to play a little bit more melee into the top lane. Nice adjustment from him as a combo comes out from Gia. The bop in from Lauber as well with the icing. The portal is set up. The CC is in place, but Madara able to right-click the portal. Kier saves the day. 10 stacks, by the way, on Kier. Can he get the channel? Nah.
Misha. That bear, man. It's always there, just in time. No one on the shrines, though. It's still active in blue for the United States. Rexar finally had the top side and Falstad would linger to make sure no one is able to grab it.
Portaling by Kier, picking up a few free stacks off Misha. And that's all she wrote for the top lane. But of course, Trixler, we got 10s coming around the corner. Maybe we get some flashy picks here. Actually, honestly, I feel like it's going to be Lifebinder to mitigate... Oh, maybe Cleansing Flame for the Gorge target so you can cleanse over the wall.
You got to be really on point for it, but yeah, it is doable.
Because Lifebinder, I don't know if you're going to be able to get into range for it. I don't know how far Lifebinder does stretch.
As long as you're able to cast it, you're good to go beforehand. We'll have to see here. Sweden does connect the 10, and oh my gosh, is it?
Cleansing Flame?
It is Cleansing Flame coming in from Sweden, so they do want the opportunity to save their opponent. It is a Gorge Leyline Seal combo and a Nano Boost as well here coming in from Ana.
Nano Boost onto Cassia Ball Lightning is going to be very fun. There's the Gorge. Gust from Falstad pushes Stitches up against the wall. America's still trying to get the kill into Lauber. Lauber gets a icing out. The bop is good. The Leyline Seal, though. Dragon here. Here comes the Dragon Queen from Henning.
Ice Block. Henning comes in. Circle of Life. Heals are a little bit too late. Ice Wall as well. And after some heroics are used, we still have the main tank falling, and Henning is trying to retreat. Unaverted will have a hook in a second here. Will he go for it? Even eating a tower shot. Trying to find the angle and decides not to let it unleash. They already got their pick. They got the Shire. They're feeling pretty good about that. Liam, on the other hand, already working on this top lane here. So from Granta trying to go for the dodges. It's actually pretty easy to do if you're playing against a Deathwing. But he still has taken a bit of a beating and will have to retreat.
Little barrel roll in from Falstad. Liam says, oh, nope, I'm going to respect you. Back off. That secret weapon and that auto attack damage is big. 13 talent here going to be even more scary for Deathwing as Kerrigan looks for a combo. I'm not on... Legacy is the target. I'm getting low, but the portal's in place. And Kier saves the day. Falstad barrel rolls in. 2 seconds on a Gust.
Gorge is also up too, so Unaverted will be fishing. He's looking for it. And with Kier here now, they can actually go for the portal combination.
Yep.
Lauber is aware of it.
Don't want to do Lauber, and they don't care about this Ultralisk.
I care about them.
Well, no, they're adorable, but I know
you
Brandon
said no one, and I felt that hurt my little Zerg heart.
You know that's all I mean.
Oh my gosh, Bahamut. I thought you were cool, man.
Oh, wow. Tomorrow's going to be awkward.
Liam actually all by himself here, drops down a Fear. Didn't expect 3 to rotate. Skog is up here with some auto attacks as well, getting down to underneath a quarter of his HP, and this is probably it here for Liam. He will get picked off, and down goes Deathwing. However, at the same time, Lauber also getting caught out, drops down a 3-man Ice Wall, goes into the stasis, Cleansing Flame trying to keep him alive. Does he have his E? There's an Ice Block, and it's not enough. Both teams trading kills. Look to the top, though. Sweden's already working on that fort, and the same is being done for the United States. We got a trade going on.
This should push both teams around into 13 talent here. Faster for Sweden.
Blue team
waiting to see who's able. So we're going to still see Sunshine top lane over to Sweden, as well as the bottom lane held by United States still on the Moonshrine. Camp to be grabbed down here for more pressure into the lane. We have also, I want to point out, we've got the extended hook now that Stitches hit level 13, so he's got 30% range. This is where things get really scary for the side of Sweden. But as I kept saying, we've got that level 13 for Falstad percent-based damage and Pacify for the Alexstrasza too.
This feels weird because, like, the trade objectively feels better for the United States when you get that bottom lane cleared out. You have 3 Merc camps that are available to you, right? You have the 2 Giants and you have the Knight camp. And that constant pressure on the bottom lane is great. It's also a kill lane for the Dragon if you ever are able to grab it from the Dragon Shrine. But Sweden also getting some pressure on the top side does open up the map and potential for a couple of kills. So it always comes down to the trade-offs. The main issue for me and where I decide that the trade works out for the United States is Deathwing. With him having a semi-global, he can easily clear out that top side. If he needs to leave a team fight, he jumps in. 10 seconds later, he's there. So I like that trade for the United States. I feel like they feel like they're in a good position.
It feels comfortable right now for both teams. It's traded forts. We're equal on structures.
Sure.
2-2 in kills, 14 apiece in our levels, and 16's a level and a half to go. It's good rotations, easy wave clear. Still no Dragon Knight either. I have not seen a summon of it.
Blizzard comes out from Mei. She gets eaten. Rexar, though, is on the dragon, and Sweden is able to take it away. Now, Lauber, can he get away from this fight? Unaverted, holding him down, using that Gorge, cleansing flame, and they were unable to get the full rotation over and stop it. Now, Sweden will take this opportunity and look for a fort. The one in the middle being sieged upon, and this is what the dragon does really well. It destroys building, and Mini's Deathwing, if you will.
Mini Deathwing? I love
Mini Deathwing.
I like it's a standing Deathwing, and they just gave him a sword easy enough, but oh, goodbye, Brandon. I'm so very sorry. Big chunking damage out from Sweden. They'll find another kill while the Dragonite while the Dragonite takes down the mid lane fort, moving down into bottom. This will be all outer layers of defenses, the tier 1s, if you will, for United States crumbling.
So I think that was a good trade for Sweden.
just kinda.
Got a couple of forts and are moving towards 16. The Dragon even has slightly more time here. It will eventually be dispatched of, but using that Fire Breath, Rexar would be able to get that tower down to, what, a 5th of HP? It looks like they may have even gotten close to killing it off with the help of the minions. And now Sweden in a position where they're waiting for their cooldowns, and they have the map opened up. And this is where this kidnap comp gets slightly weaker. Now you don't have a fort or a tower to run to, and there's no reason for Sweden to really be on the side of the map to where they do get hooked. However, Liam's trying to chase down this target who did get kicked out of the dragon. It's going to be Swamp Granta on Rexar, but here comes Skog. He has a Mighty Gust.
Ice Wall from the Mei will connect. There was a Bellowing Roar, Feign Death from Swamp Granta, but Misha will fall first. Sweden, they're not exiting this fight at all. They want to take down Liam before the Cataclysm gets him out, and unfortunately, for the side of Sweden, the Deathwing does fly away undead?
But unaverted once more. He was looking for a hook.
Yeah.
He had that Gorge. He was waiting for Medivh. Deathwing was going back into the air. If he lands that hook, that's a kill, right? Look at all the cooldowns. Most of them are down for Ultilis and the Cleansing Flame. Ultilis just came up. And I don't know if Sweden would commit to trying to save that fight. Unfortunately, it did not connect. And now we're going to be waiting for our mercenary camps to come back up and wait for those hooks to be locked and ready.
We do have the Pulverize at 16, armor reduction and slow. You've got the Temporal Flux as well from Medivh, which is huge for cooldown reductions on autos and Qs as well. Kerrigan ravaging in. She's looking for the big CC to take down the Stitches. The Leyline Seal may have created a window, but the Ultralisk will come through. Can baby Ultralisk take down Stitches?
Stitches, Force of Wills, there's a Gorge, he pulls him in under the tower. I don't think he'll be able to get to the fort. Lauber drops the Ice Block, there goes the wall, the Gust comes out, Lauber with 200 HP, able to try and jump out. And
no way!
What an incredible team fight. Leyline Seal comes out and does hit Mei, who, by the way, needs heals, and United States find a pick.
3-3 in kills, and it looks like United States want more. They're going for camps. They're looking for pressure through the bottom lane. I like this call.
There it is.
That's a beautiful hook onto Skog, but he's able to barrel roll away.
Misha will sacrifice her life. Everyone salute 07 to Misha. No, wait, Misha's holding on. Misha's up
Still
there.
Salute.
Misha is strong.
Never stop saluting Misha.
Okay, we lost Misha, but we salute you at your service. You save Falstad for the day. United States, however, is just running the train at the moment as they grab the Giants and continue to portal all over the map.
Choo-choo from United States. Second objective phase is up and available. Sweden does get their hard camp for the top lane. Same to be done for United States in the bottom to amplify the Siege Giants that were already grabbed. I wouldn't be surprised if Madara splits off and grabs the Siege Giants on the left-hand side as well.
Yeah, take everything right now. You want the experience, you want the pressure on the map, you want to set yourself up, you want to be in a spot where Deathwing is able to split push if we need to. Sweden, on the other hand, is now starting to recuperate. They finally got Mei back on the field, and all their heroics are ready to go. And they start to apply pressure on that Night Camp to the top side, and this should free up Misha to rotate down into a team fight if they think they can find something.
Looking at those talents, we're getting close to 20 talents here. Gia is done with his level 4. 39 stacks for the Falstad, 67. We'll check back in on that Thunderstroke and 2 stacks really quickly.
Nice. Night Camp being grabbed in the top left, and that will answer back as Deathwing clears that up. This does allow for Sweden to grab control of that Bermuda Triangle. Misha scouting it out, see if there's anyone hidden in the bushes, whereas Unaverted is hanging out by the Giants to see if anyone is overstepping to try and clear that out. Hook comes out, and will land on nothing, but they were looking for a possible Rexar pickoff.
Liam's got the channel for top lane. Double Siege Giants, not Siege Giants, the hard camps will clash in the top lane while we wait. While we wait patiently for 20 talent here, or a random hook to grab an enemy. Misha gets a stun onto Brandon. He's a little far forward from his team, but of course portals are available by Cure. Icing in from Lauber. No kill to be achieved.
But a Leyland Seal. This is good here. Falstad, able to just barely tailwind away from that fight as Unaverted was walking up looking nice and hungry, licking his lips.
I mean, yeah, Swiftwing does look delicious.
Would devour. Oh, that's the name of the bird, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Or as Justin used to say, Gerald. Gerald the bird.
Such a massive departure.
I know,
from
right?
Swiftwing, but
Yeah, it's...
Justin's got his own form of humor, and I really appreciate it. That's for sure. 19 3/4 to 19 3/4. Those 20s that you were alluding to are right around the corner. Cure scouting out, making sure no one's here. This allows for Mataro to step up and clear out this wave on the bottom right, and 20 will be secured first for the United States. They're even putting some damage on top of this turret. A hook over the walls from Ganta actually has to feint death just to make sure he doesn't get picked off. Uninverted, man. Starting to warm up in the series.
I'm loving what Brandon's doing here on the Stitches. He's making it look really good. It is going to be, I think that's Gas Bag at level 20 for Stitches. Nano Infusion for the Ana. We've got Medivh Cheats at level 20 for Medivh, big surprise. Ball Lightning, that's Infinite. And is that Arrival of God at level 20, I think, for the Deathwing? Gives him all of his level 7s.
Destroyer's Rampage.
Thank you.
For the next 6 seconds after landing in Destroyer form, Deathwing's damage is increased by 40%, his basic cooldowns recharge 50% faster. Now, both shrines are grabbed for the United States. Sweden, however, is sitting in the middle. They are a roadblock for this dragon. The last time we saw the dragon, there's only been one so far in this game, by the way. It was able to break down 2 forts. It can do much more here as we get later into the
Kill
stages.
Command, that's got a root on it. Kill Command, roots unaverted. There's an Ice Wall as well that does have the 20 upgrade. Liam drops down from the sky. There's a Gorge onto Kerrigan on the left-hand side of our screen while Liam's still trying to make a Bellowing Roar, splitting the enemy team. A Wind Tunnel from Falstad, and still May goes down. Feign death for a moment. Liam getting chunked here a little bit. But meanwhile, just below, Gia's the one falling so very low. Cleansing Flame. Gia has to blink away, Trick.
Liam is destroying in this team fight. That Wind Tunnel, because Unstoppable was able to just stand there and found the pick on May. Granta trying his best here to kite where he can. Gia as well, stuck in another Leyline Seal. That was used to start this fight, by the way. What a great low cooldown. Henning in that dragon form doing everything he can to provide for his teammates, but I don't know if it's enough to save his family. Skog, meanwhile, able to get away from the fight as Henning runs to the middle. 2 members left for Sweden, but a dragon... Oh, excuse me! Only 1 member left for Sweden as a dragon gets pulled in by Stitches.
Alex Straza was trying to Cleansing Flame there, and something interrupted. I'm not 100% what, but that's
there's a wind-up on it.
There's a wind-up on it. That's such a boner, because it seemed like Alex Straza came out of Dragon Queen form, and that's what actually canceled, because it's on full cooldown as well. Doesn't matter, because right now, side wall is United States. Are they going for... No, they're going for just sidewall and...
You get the keep here.
Maybe,
Easily
yeah.
You get the keep here. Leyline Seal goes out, even looking for anyone that might be behind there. If they had it, they could maybe move in for a portal into a gorge. Sweden was aware of this, and they're playing safely. They have to buy at least 20 seconds to get some damage on top of this dragon. Lobber even hugging the walls, watching for Unaverted. Every position that he moves, every step up that he does, Unaverted does turn around, gets the hook. It will be a portal here to the backside. Lobber trying to retreat. Dragon Knight goes for the kick, but Lobber actually to outplay it there with the ice block, and now the Dragon Knight is being cleared out. Sweden actually holds.
Bottom lane keep falls, and that's as much as NA gets. But I can't be upset about that, and I don't think NA is either. Consistent catapult pressure through the bottom lane. They have a win condition as well. One really good team fight for United States. They go core, they take us into a map 5. Of course, really good team fight for Sweden. They've got good siege damage. They could potentially run through bottom as well, take down that keep and go core. We'll have to see how things do evolve here. 18 plus minutes into map number 4. It's tense here in this 4th best of 5 of the day.
Oh, it certainly is. You've definitely nailed that. And it comes down to Merc Control right now. That's where Medivh is going to be very, very important. Medivh scouting out where exactly the red team is at, scouting out the safe zones. Like right now, he's looking around to make sure no one's invading in the night camp in the top left. He immediately rotated to the bottom side as well. He is the heads-up warning call if Sweden is looking to come in for an engage so his team can back up or counter-engage.
Looking at heroics across the board, everything's up and available. Bellowing Roar, as well as the Cataclysm for the Deathwing, 22 to 21 in levels. A little bit of an advantage for the side of the United States, but not by much. Waves still need to be cleared out from Sweden.
I love this level 20 Shatter being picked up by May as well. We've been seeing Lobber land it pretty darn well, where he's hit 2 or 3. The idea behind it is, of course, when they come out, they take a little bit of damage, but the biggest part is the reduction in armor of the opposing team. And if you can get that on 2 or 3 members, there's only one Force of Will, right? And then Ana, of course, has to spread out her heals, which are single target unless she's in that Pierce form. So if you can get that Ice Wall to connect on multiple members and then turn around the fight, Sweden can get their engage they're looking for.
Hook went out from Stitches, trying to find Skog, unable to do so. Skog side flying it, I guess you could say, but we have 16-second cooldown on that talent. Shouldn't be far off from being up and available for Brandon to go fishing again. Lauber stepping up for a Blizzard, blinding out Madara, who's got 92 stacks on that level 1, 50 stacks for the Falstad.
He's forcing Medivh to stay here. Every time that Medivh attempts to go to the middle lane or the top lane, Lauber goes for a hard engage. He wants him to stay in this area. If he keeps Medivh in this area, then he knows where he's at, and they can play around it accordingly without having to wonder where the portals are.
Sweden's got a fantastic lane. Sweden's got a fantastic push in top lane. Deathwing will take care of that. Is there any sort of green light for Sweden to say, okay, Deathwing's in top, maybe we run at the enemy team? Not the case. They get a hard camp for bottom.
It's hard because Mei is a character that, yes, she can engage, but she wants to use her tools for the disengage if Stitch's hook comes out. So the only way they get the engages they want to is unleash the boars, right? But you gotta have the target in front of you. It's a decent cast of about, I don't know, half a screen there. But every time that Deathwing does disappear, United States is aware of it and they know the potential of what Sweden can do, and they just back up and play it smart.
Well, looking over at top lane, Liam is Liam the target right here? No, they're just forcing him back in the top lane. Meanwhile, in the it's not Bermuda Triangle, but the rotation between mid and bottom, Kier just checking out where the enemy may be hiding. Dragon Knight's available. Lauber, oh, no, not anymore. Unaverted gets it.
Sweden just wants to hold on to one right now.
Yeah.
They're waiting for a slip up. The thing is, the United States hasn't given that slip up for the last, 20 minutes? It's 7-4 in kills, relatively low, actually, for a map on Dragon Shire. Usually you see a lot more top lane pickings. Sweden
top, though, so
has both, but yeah, Liam is willing to be in a position to rotate the moment he sees 4 people in an area, because you know Sweden's being clumped up. It's been kind of their MO this tournament, is they're willing to group up unless they have that global with the Haka, and they're kind of forcing the situation just because of the portal capabilities.
As a note, Liam took flight into the sky. Waiting to see what the engagement... It's so tense right now. I'm waiting for a team fight, and it almost seems like both sides are a little afraid to engage because one bad team fight from Sweden, that's a map 5 for United States. But of course, United States, they recognize Sweden does have a lot of good late-game tools. Kill Command's huge. That Shatter, as you were mentioning as well. Wind Tunnel from Falstad. It's going to be one big team fight that's going to decide this entire map, I feel.
Same time, though, United States has all the time in the world. They have catapult pressure.
Yes.
So eventually, at some point, Sweden's going to make a mistake if you try to play this perfectly, where they try to rotate down, and then the hook, all it takes is one, right? One perfect engage into a leyline steal is going to be what the United States is looking for. On the other hand, Sweden's waiting for them to miss that hook. That's why it's so intense, because the window of opportunities keeps changing based on what Stitches has available to him.
Trading Moon and Sunshine back and forth for bottom and top. Siege Giants will be cleared out as well. It's almost like yakety sax. It's one team goes to bottom, the other team goes to top.
Imagine the players. Like, we're tense. Imagine them, right? Like, this is a situation where Sweden knocks us in the bag, moves forward in this tournament.
Oh, wait. That's right. Dragon Knight. Misha blocks.
Wow, sneaky.
That's a big late game Dragon Knight, too. That's huge for Sweden.
And it all came down to a night camp timing. They saw 2 there. They saw Medivh on the south side, able to sneak it away. And now Sweden wants to open up the bottom side. 1, to equalize the catapults. And 2, to set up their own win condition. If they find a pick or 2, they can go straight for the core. This is a Dragon Knight after 23 minutes.
See, the damage is really good. Self-cleanse, I believe, that was for the Stitches with the gas bag level 20. Portal for Medivh gets him in and out.
Gorge.
They grab Lauber. Lauber's been grabbed. Can they get the kill onto him?
They're trying to. The wall's being broken down by Sweden, but he's so far behind. Even a fear straight into the core.
Nothing.
Lauber gets picked up. The Cleansing Flame just wasn't able to get anything going. Henning is going to be on the back right with these heals. This is a 4v5. Liam is low. Liam trying to kite out. Down to 400 HP. The Ultra
punt!
Oh my, the mini Deathwing killed the Deathwing!
Can you believe it?
I cannot believe it. Unaverted on the back right as well, taking some damage. Falsa gonna get hit with the leyline seal. The Dragon doing everything in their power to burn down this fort, but also get damage on that back line. Going straight for Ana, kicks her away. However, he is getting low on HP. Gia steps up to try and help out his teammate. Misha goes forward. Misha gets hooked in. That's gonna be a turnaround as Sweden finds another kill. It's a 1-for-2 trade, and the keep is getting focused down.
This is looking like the end for United States in their upper bracket run. They're not out of the tournament, but this is looking like a map 4 over to Sweden. All they got to do, reduce that core HP to 0. Simple. So very simple.
Don't count out unaverted, man. Him with this positioning, with this hook on the back left side, and Madara working on clearing out the minion wave, they can try and hold this down to the best of ability. Remember, Cassia still has that lightning ball as well. She steps up, and Sweden realizing the threat. There's the hook. It comes in. Unaverted goes for the gorge, pulls him down into the keep. Wind tunnel to keep Madara back. Madara drops the chain ball, goes for the Finn, tries to focus him down. Skull gets picked off. The core is dropping down to 60%. At the same time, though, Sweden is hurting. Misha's on the core. Rexar feigning death, but he's going to be dead for sure after this. And United States, they hold.
A solid quadra kill for United States.
Lauber has to delay. He has to delay here.
40 seconds. I don't know if it's in the cards.
He's got Ice Wall. Doing everything he can.
He's got to get the... Okay. I was going to say he's got to get the best ice wall ever to exist in Heroes of Storm.
Well, even demounting and slowing down is huge, right?
True.
You have to get the remount. Cassia's able to get back up there pretty easily. 30 seconds, 20 seconds for Falset. And when he comes back, he will have a Mighty Gust and a Storm Tunnel. Lauber, even at this point, may want to risk his health bar and just straight up die, right? You want to get on top of the Cassia because she's the highest damage dealer, and then maybe try to get some damage on the Deathwing. The core's starting to burn down. There goes the shields, and Bahamut, United States going for it.
United States, Cataclysm has damage over time on the ground. Leyline Seal onto Lauber just to delay him from helping out. Kerrigan is back. She's got Ultralisk. Gust is up in, well, Falset's up in 1 second. Alex Strauss is not far behind that. Where's the Gust? Anna so very low on the left-hand side of the core, but Deathwing, he's just, no, that's it.
He's big and unstoppable.
Let's go.
There it
the
goes.
The first map number 5 of Nations Cup is going to be pushed into by United States. GG's, that was... We said this was the series of the day, and it is proving to me that this is the series. This is so good. I was like sitting there, I was like, Sweden might have this. Sweden actually, they were so close, but that you called it during that core defense.
That was a very, very fun series. But yeah, it comes down to that hook, right? Being able to take down those tanks and get the hooks in the top right corner into the keep, that bought just enough time, even with the wind tunnel. Finn is able to break through that, and we saw that from Madara, making sure to keep his armor up, turned around and got the Falstad kill. And I think Falstad was a bit surprised at that hard aggression. My golly gee, we are going to our first Game 5 in a best-of-5 series. United States taking on Sweden. But first, a commercial break, and then come back, be ready, and be hyped, because I am. Let's do it. Welcome back to the Heroes International here in Berlin for 2023. We have our 5th game for the first time in a best-of-5 series, and it's between the United States and Sweden. Bahamut, we're going to jump in as quickly as we can, but give me a quick lowdown of what you thought so far of the series and where we're going.
Amazing. Watch the VODs, but after you watch this next game...
Well said. I expected a few more words, but you know what? Perfectly nailed there. I think it's been really, really awesome.
It's been we've seen amazing back and forth. We've seen one-sided games.
Yeah.
We've seen contested games, and we've also seen just some absolute, I wouldn't even say upsets, but just turnarounds at the end. That last Dragon Shire map we just saw, huge turnaround at the end. You called it. You were like, look out for Brandon on that stitches those hooks, and it was a beautiful turnaround moment. North America up against Sweden, map number 5. We promised you a map number 5, and you got it.
Yeah, to get more granular, I just love watching at the current meta that is happening within the Distance Best of 5 series, right? In game number 1, we saw Sweden be a little bit more stretched out. They had to hawk, and they're willing to do that, right? That's the power of globals. Europe has always been really excelling when it comes to that. I mean, all teams, honestly, when it comes to globals, are pretty good at peeling someone off. But when it came to actual matchups where you have someone peel off and hold the front line, Liam's getting the upper hand these last couple of games because Sweden has started to group up and be a bit more compact due to the drafting of what we've been seeing for the United States. Now, with that being said, no longer is there a hook composition available. The Tracer Madara Chromie is no longer available as well, and we're going into game number 5, and the drafts are going to start getting thin. All those characters you've seen in the last 4 games, unplayable here as we go into game number 5.
As well as our pre-bans too.
Yeah, I mean, we are at a point here where over half the roster is unplayable, and now you have to start thinking about how you want to piece together some compositions to pull it out in game number 5, and today we get a first taste of how that's going to be. Looking into the battleground, we're going to a pretty large map, which makes it interesting for us because it's going to be Garden of Terror.
I said it to you during the break, and I'll say it right here.
In front of everybody?
In front of everyone.
This is live, by the way.
I love you.
You can't edit.
Murky Nova, they both have Bribe, and the reason I bring up Nova specifically is, yes, I know there's the fun sort of Octograb, Precision Strike, but Nova also, her Bribe does reduce the camp timer by 50%.
Sure.
So getting that on Siege Giants, getting out Siege Giants rapidly in lanes, because Garden of Terror, the gameplay, yes, you want the objective phase, but the camps are the true objective phase on Garden of Terror.
The map is so large that mercenary camps are important because of the experience game. You don't want to fall behind. If you fall behind on Garden of Terror, you're just out of luck and it feels painful, right, the entire time. So mercenary camp control is important. So things like that is something that has to be considered. Murky also has bribe mechanics in general are also strong. Vikings haven't been played in this series, and you could have the Vikings go that route. Vikings are actually terrifying on this map. One to the point where you might have to consider straight up banning them out. But there are a lot of options here because of how wide the map is. There's a lot of varying strategies as well. It takes time to grab 3 seeds in order for you to have the plant terrors head down those lanes.
You make a good point with the Vikings on top of the bribe, but also you have Mercenary Lord as well from the Vikings. 1 Viking in each lane. You can Mercenary Lord all 3 camps potentially in all 3 lanes. So we're about to get into this draft in a few moments here, and I just gotta say I'm super excited about this. I personally, I want both teams to win. I don't want either of them to drop to the lower bracket. I got faith in both of them that they're going to do fantastic, but I think we're all in for a awesome game number 5 to wrap up this series coming up in just a few seconds.
That is the good news. Whoever loses here will be playing tonight, and we are playing that series. We have a game 5 and a series 5 and a series 6 that will be occurring tonight. So that will be super fascinating to watch, and you will know which 2 teams will be eliminated from this entire tournament by the end of today's stream, which is just exciting to think about. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Game number 5 is ready, and we are going to be beginning to head into the draft right now as our players are ready. They were itching, actually. They were talking about, like, let's go. Let's get this going. They're so excited. So let's hop into the draft here. Game number 5, United States versus Sweden. Winner goes to loser. Winner goes ahead. The loser goes to the loser bracket.
I want to hear some NA cheer and some Sweden cheer. I want it to get so loud in there we can hear it in here. That's what I want from this.
I'll let you call for the United States cheers then.
Okay. All right.
All right. Let's do it.
We'll do it. We'll shout it out to the crowd during the game. But right now, getting into draft, it's a white main ban. This means first ban priority goes over to the side of Sweden. That's what they opted into as the losing team. So Garden of Terror is the map choice of United States.
Oh yeah, you're good point there. I'm saying something about the white main being banned out. What would be a huge indicator that's left over that would be okay? White main's kind of annoying to deal with because she's got
subjugation and shared punishment. 13-16 are annoying. We don't see Scarlet Crusade, or not Scarlet Crusade. We don't see the Divine Reckoning too much, but the Scarlet Aegis is a good burst blocker. White main's got great poke as well. Is this going to be the ban on Liam's Yrel?
Do we have too many healers? Yeah, Yrel being taken away, so we aren't going to get any of that Yrel. Are all of our healers pretty much banned out? What's
Lily? Come on.
Any of our real healers?
Whoa!
I hate Lily so much. Yeah, I know. I used to be a fan. Not so much.
That's okay.
My heart has changed. You know, I had too many Lilies troll me.
That's actually very understandable.
That's what it comes down to. They just run it down int over and over. Sergeant Hammer being banned out. United States thinking about, okay, what is our final ban gonna be here? The Vikings.
Yeah, that makes sense. We were really talking about how much the Vikings can do on a map like this. Even if they don't go into Bribe or Mercenary Lord, there's still so much split pressure and value from Vikings. I just forgot that Diablo's been banned out, and he's finally made it into game number 5. Well, and Lauber gets a Diablo in game 5. Either this is the most 6D chess on the planet, or Lauber's just like, oh, holy crap, boys, I can get it.
That's what happens with good drafting, right? You keep, they're all pulling those Excel sheets up and like, okay, what are we missing here? What can be?
That is what you see whenever we see the player cams. You see like a white sort of flash on their screen. They're swapping between their Excel sheets, trying to figure out what they want to do. Malthael, Mephisto, do like the Malthael a ton into the Diablo as well. Good pressure, good sustained chase.
Great individual heroes too from Adara and Liam as well. Okay. This is where we just sit and wait, because like we could throw out as many different heroes as we want to, but ultimately it comes down to like what are you able to.
We're just throwing darts at a board at this point.
They're building a car here with like rust parts from the card, right? Like, so we just get to witness. Obviously, you want to start moving into whatever clear mercenary camps. Gray main's still available. There actually is the Gray main, and then Ariel as well will bring in the heals. I am a little bit interested in like what will be our pickup to give Ariel those heals. Any ideas, Mr. Bahamut?
It's Shogal, duh.
Okay. It certainly could.
Because Tychus is out.
Yeah?
I mean, yeah, you have Malthael, but there still is the Grey main.
Kerosene is out as well. The only issue is that it is a 3-lane map, and Shogal does
and you don't really want Diablo in like a lane by himself.
Yeah.
So I said it for the jokes and the memes. I don't think Sweden will lean into it. Maybe a team will go for it. Another Tyrande ban.
Okay.
But this time actually coming out from Sweden, we do get a... Oh, it looks like United States skipped their 3rd ban. They just banned nothing.
Lily can work in this composition. Malthael has his own heals. Mephisto can buy his own time.
I got it in your brain, didn't I?
If it has to go down that route, I just would hate it, but I could see it working. And you could go for the sustained fights with, of course, your jugs. Just comes down to like getting the channel in. Morales and Arthas. Okay.
This is really good siege potential. Arthas could go into Syndragosa. There's such a discourse between, Army of the Dead and sustainability, but Syndragosa's siege value is really strong. You lock down a tower for like 12, 24 seconds. It's something insane. I forget, actually. But I do like the Arthas here. I don't think we're going to see any sort of juice pirates. We got to bring it up when you see Morales, though.
Sadly, Malthael just ruins all that because he does zero damage to forts and whatnot. But gosh, I would love me some juice pirates for a Game 5. Illidan and Jaina will be the 4th and 5th pickup here for Sweden. Some good split pressure being available between Greymane and Illidan. Good wave clear to help out for Jaina.
Greymane, Illidan, and kind of Jaina can get, Jaina can, certain camps. The 3 of those can get camps on their own. This is a really, really, really good draft from Sweden. They have so many check marks so many boxes checked with CC, sustained damage, chase. This Imperious, though, is fun. As everyone wants to chase in Illidan, Greymane, they're trying to dive in. Imperious with the Celestial Charge. You've got Arthas with the Howling Blast. Arthas into Greymane actually is considered a counter with the Frozen Tempest to be able to slow down that auto attack speed onto Greymane. That's an old counter. I mean, we don't really talk about it because we don't see Arthas that much anymore. What are you thinking about this? I got all my ideas, but I see you pondering. Pontificate for us.
It helps to delete the Diablo, right? You can ignore with Morales in this composition. You can ignore Greymane and Illidan enough if you have a good enough positioning with Arthas being on your front line to make sure that Diablo has a very hard time in the fight, right? Shish Kebab and Malthael, last rites, fall out the combo. Morales just safeguarding out of her rear as much as he can, keep everyone alive. If you can get Diablo burned down, you can start working on the rest of this. So it's actually a good composition here for the United States. But I go back to your point that you brought up about the mercenary camp control. It's stellar here in Sweden.
It is really, really good. I do want to point out as well, the way I'm looking at this, we can get a little bit of predictions. The way I feel this game is going to go, Sweden's going to have a dominant start.
Sure.
I think they're going to be able to get early kills, make rotations, but as the game progresses, Malthael's kit, as it expands, I really do think that he's going to be able to start chunking into Diablo and making his life miserable with percent-based damage as we are here into map number 5 in our 4th best of 5 of the day. On the left-hand side, we've got USA. Can we get that cheer in the crowd? We got Legacy
loud
on the Lieutenant Morales. We got Cure playing his Imperious, Madara on the Mephisto, Unaverted on that Arthas, and last but not least, we'll see Liam on the Malthael.
All right, so on the far left, US, but on to the far right, it's going to be Diablo played by Lobbers, Fapgranta on Illidan, Gia on Greymane, hitting on Ariel, and Skog on Jaina. Let's hear it for Sweden!
I feel like they were louder, to be honest. I think NA could do better.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It be what it be, man. Field advantage, all that stuff.
Yeah. Trying to get the crowd a little riled up here. Illidan hanging out in top, Jaina, Ariel in bottom, as the Diablo, Greymane chill in mid. Sweden doesn't want to go for the initial brawl in mid. They're just looking for, let's step into lane and just set up and start soaking.
Get those souls going. Illidan, by the way, has picked up his stacking quest here at left.
Unending Hatred, yeah.
Yes, looking to get that extra damage. A map that is naturally going to have a long match. Means they're going to be soaking up waves constantly, so you might as well get the extra damage. Gante able to dodge out on Kier, who is going for that impale. Gia comes to the side, and it's just enough damage, and Kier goes down. Sweden draws first blood.
Beautiful rotation up to the top lane, getting that kill. A little experience, it's around 300, 400. Not the most, but you're also forcing rotations out from United States that they weren't really wanting to do. Madara wanted to chill in mid, maybe break off and grab that Siege Giant camp that has spawned. We're a minute past, so all camps are up. And speaking of camps, Sweden starts things out with a Bruiser camp of their own. Meanwhile, Malthael works in the bottom left.
Malthael should be down on his own without too many issues. So this will allow for Arthas and Illidan to come in, but also be in a position to watch out for the Illidan or Greymane engage, because that is something that can occur if they do find a pick. It is funny to see a Morales working on the Giant camp here, but Madara is there to help out as well. Nice positioning by him to get
that's really cool the way that he did that.
So they will have to deal with this top lane, but this is where Greymane is fantastic. If you are not able to get on top of him and provide ample damage quickly enough, he will chew through your towers, so they bring Liam up to help out with that.
Illidan continues to soak up through the mid. Jaina playing by the fort front gate and bottom, while we have Imperious pressuring up with a camp. Actually, Jaina's got a Siege Giant camp of her own. First seed spawns on the bottom left. Garden of Terror does have an earlier objective timing rather than a lot of the Heroes of Storm maps, typically 2:30 for the announcement, 3 minutes contest. Here we're going to be seeing it at 2:30, up and available for contest. A little bit faster, a little bit earlier. Maybe we get an early brawl around it, or it might just be soaking up other talents. Good to tame a strike into the wall. Kier's going to take a ton of damage. The burst is in, and another kill for Sweden here, Trixler.
Sweden really amping up the aggression that we saw them pull off against France. And the last few games have actually been more reclusive and trying to work on towers, but here they're actually going for kills, and Kier so far has been the target, and it makes sense. Imperius doesn't have that much mobility. If he does not catch wind of that rotation coming his way, he will get picked off like you've seen twice now. Expect Kier to start really slowing down his pushes.
I think so. You nailed that absolutely. Play a little bit safer. Don't go too far into the lane, or at least if that is the case, start communicating, okay, we're missing people on map, or these just a little more communication to be had as Cure respawns, makes his way back into the top lane. Half a level lead for Sweden as they have a couple kills and maybe 1 or 2 camps extra.
Yeah, there's a few seeds in their position and how they work that they just benefit teams in certain ways, right? And this seed that's spawning on the bottom left corner does benefit United States. You have a lot of poke on the side. You're able to use Mephisto to jump over and keep denying over and over. So I would be curious if Sweden commits fully to the idea of trying to take away the seed. Instead, they're going to grab the camps and maybe attempt to push in the middle. But United States is here to meet him right away.
Greymane able to back off. Gia fine for now. Gets the remount onto the Money Pig. And also, yeah, Lauber did go into Soul to Flame, going Fire Stomp build. We'll be able to pick up extra souls as those Soul Flames return to Lauber through enemy heroes. 14 stacks already for the Jaina on the regeneration globes. That's really good.
I like that Shadow Flame build here, too. You're going to need every ounce of healing you can get against Malthael and Imperius, and Ariel Walsh, you will be providing it where she can. It's only so much, right? It's not infinite. So you'll see some Fire Stomps to try and keep him alive. Lauber also using that for demounts.
Yep.
Kier by himself, look at him just hugging this tower. He's like, okay, I get it, guys. All right, I understand the game plan.
Not going to step out too far this time. Howling Blast and Frozen Tempest for the Arthas, but they're still just diving onto Kier. They say, yeah, you stepped out an inch too far, we're going to punish it. No, it's Gia getting punished. Tries to play in the bush, but Mephisto finds kill. That'll be first blood for NA, and they rack up a double kill. That's a good chunk of experience.
I mean, if you notice a pattern in your opponents, use it against them. I'm sure some important general said that somewhere. Somewhere. Sun Tzu probably said it. We saw Imperius dancing around the corner, but the moment that his teammate could start rotating in after they grabbed the C, they all mounted up and ran straight north, and he baited Diablo into the corner, took a couple of tower shots, even went for an Impale right away to lock him down, and that was enough to earn them 2 kills, which helps them get closer to that experience lead that Sweden was starting to grab. 9.25 to about 9 here for the United States.
5-minute regeneration globe talent for Jaina. That's kind of wild to me. That's so very quick. I know there's a lot of camps, but really good rotations being had, constantly getting those globes. 10 talent tiers soon to come up at the top of your screens. And another, actually, sorry, it's still the same seed from 2:30 waiting to be contested. They haven't even touched the sappers. The sapper's still defending around. That's why it's still pinging people on the map like, hey, we made an objective. Please play it.
Oh, good note, actually. I thought they actually grabbed it because they were dancing around there earlier from Lauber. Wow, they didn't even pick that up. And that may have been why the United States was able to turn around that fight on the top side and get a kill. Well done.
Hunt.
It is the hunt. This is something that you know you're going to be getting the 20s, so suddenly global hunt.
Oh, yeah, the nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The true global.
That's
no
right.
restrictions. And you also are able to see enemy heroes below 25% health. Really good way just to dive in onto someone, maybe gets beat up by a camp and forgets that you took that as Illidan at level 20. Of course, Curse Bullet for the Greymane Crystal Aegis. We got the Water Elemental and the Sky Suplex from Imperius. Lauber just says, hey, I'm going to push you right back.
Henning does have the Aegis. Will he use it? Still providing the heals. Lauber trying to hold, getting the Fire Stomps off, and they decide not to use the Aegis. That was a shot call. Hey, guys, don't use this heroic here. It's too wasteful. And instead, Swamp Gruntus get in the top side, allow him to get some pressure there, and we'll try to get him out as soon as we can.
I think if the fight kept going and Lauber kept fire stomping through the enemy team, he'd get to 100 souls, and then he'd just immediately lose all 100. Actually, he'd only lose the 75 because we're post level 10 for him.
Interesting. Still, they pulled off and they hold off in there.
We have medevac. I love it. It's like an ice block.
To a degree, yeah.
And if you really think about it, who are you going to nano? I guess Malthael, kinda, or Stim, I don't really. Maybe Stim Imperious?
Imperious, yeah, man. Let him
That
run
actually is
down.
kind of scary, I'm not going to lie.
Medevac is good, and of course it is a kind of a snap button if you need to get out of a fight because of safeguard and whatnot, but I would worry slightly. There is a lot of damage there for Sweden. If they see that Medevac, they can burst it down and kill them. But maybe perhaps the United States, like, even if we get a couple seconds out of the Medevac, it's worth it.
Let's also remember the fact of Medevac got that adjustment a while ago where you can also use it to call an ally from the Nexus. So it's also a good way to say, all right, we have this sustained fight, someone died, they respawned, call the Medevac in, and we've got reinforcements that don't have to cross the map. Oh!
Endurance. Lock it down.
Goodbye. Nicely done. NA picks up another kill. Lauber coming in. Does he get the counter? Yes! Mephisto falls and Lauber's got full souls.
Oh my gosh, this game number 5 has already been great so far. Trading back and forth, 7 kills in total, 4 for the United States, 3 for Sweden. Sweden has brought everyone in the top lane, so they'll be looking to try and get some damage on top of that fort. Malthael actually was hanging down by that bottom left C, decides not to go for it as a C continues to be ignored. As Liam says, and the rest of the United States like, all right, cool, we'll just leave it there. We won't give you the ability to push it at all.
Those poor sappers. They showed up, they wanted to defend, and no one's sitting there. No one's coming over to hang out. It's unfortunate. I do want to point out as well, we can't see it at the bottom, but Illidan's level 1 is uncapped. It does keep scaling as he gets those minion kills, so we can maybe check on that a little bit later if we can look at that stat for the audience at home. Also, last rights from Malthael, no stack just yet, but could get 5 seconds for every kill.
Looking for that cooldown reduction. It's so nice to have, especially against the Diablo. All right. Our team continue to bounce back between the Merc camps. 13-13. Look how close it is. This is why these Merc camps are so important, because you want to keep it that even tier level. As it seems like both teams are content with trying to push towards level 20. Each one trying to get an inch over them with a couple of kills, but responses in kind.
I love that Jaina, by the way, is at 6,666 on her level 1 or her baseline questing 4. Oh, the ice block. I thought Cure was going to be able to get the charge in, but that's a hunt from Illidan. Cure so very low, will go down. Legacy uses the medevac. It's going to pop. Legacy also lives.
Wow, yeah, the grenade at the last second. Oh, lightning breath! Down to 70 HP, but able to heal up. But someone who rotates over is Matara, trying to come in with Mephisto, and he gets cleaned up. The damage output from Sweden, if they can find a target and get on top of it, is incredible, and you saw it there. 2 kills, Morales was nowhere to be seen.
9 minutes and nearly 30 seconds in, we finally get the first objective. No, we don't, actually. Ariel claps on it, and they just go to bottom lane.
Just kill the towers. Just get those, right? Like, might as well. You get the pressure on the map, you get the catapults, you get the passive experience as well, the siege just slow you down. Use those to end the game later on, right?
Right. I don't hate this from Sweden at all. They're opening up the map fairly fast. Illidan pushes up mid. I don't think he's going to dive onto the tower, especially with Arthas chilling in this mid lane, trying to get more stacks. Only 7 stacks on that Howling Blast level 1.
Hard to land, actually. It's a slow, it's a really slow skill shot.
As you pick up more stacks, you... I blink, and all of a sudden, Skog gets a burst onto Malthael. Liam will fall.
The hunt, man. You overstep, and they'll come for you.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I do see the cooldown. It's going a lot faster because Illidan's auto attacks, but still.
Oh, will they do it? The 10-minute seed. There it is being channeled. Matara comes in. This is where Matara is like really strong, though, right? If able to jump in, cooldown reduction, do a skull missile, Henning going for the channel, and it will be given up here.
I think there was a cursed hollow game I think I casted where it was a 13-minute first tribute until it was actually captured. It was absolutely wild. So 10 minutes on this one. All right. 16 talent tier advantage also for Sweden. United States just need to clear their lanes safely. Camps in top, camp in mid. Malthael working on bottom lane as he has respawned.
Well, you're starting to see how you have to react in this map, right? It's so big that if you fall half a level behind, that is so monumental.
Yeah.
You have to clear out the middle wave, and that means you're using abilities, you're being demounted. Sweden's already mounted and moved to the top lane. They kill a fort before you even have a chance to respawn, and you're constantly playing this weird catch-up reactionary game, and you never want to be in this situation. Durance comes out, locks on top of Diablo.
But he still has all that spell armor from his soul shield at level 1, as well as the mage that he was standing inside of. So Lauber gets tickled. He laughs and walks away.
Doesn't that feel so weird? You're like playing against Diablo and he's really squishy in the early game, and then you get the late game and he has a night camp and it's just like, oh, I do nothing.
I guess I just let him do things and I walk away.
He's a big boy. Ooh, wait a minute. Howling Blast hits on Jaina. She immediately ice blocks. There's no healer, by the way, as Oriel's in the top right part of the map. Oh, they didn't get the engage they wanted.
No. I do like that United States didn't continue pressuring something that didn't work out. They broke off, said, let's get a camp. Next seed is spawning. We have even talent tiers. We'll re-engage once we push out these lanes. I think United States, I don't think they're playing scared. I think they're playing smart.
I mean, they have to, right? Mm-hmm. With 20 around the corner, Illidan going for picks. They're starting to hide every time they're in a lane now. They clear it quickly and then leave. They don't want to have a chance for anyone to come in. Arthas scouting out, sees where Diablo was on that bottom side, and he actually rotated back in and hid that information as much as he could. So, Labber.
I see Liam also. I see Liam also doing the exact same thing. Took a very safe rotation to the bottom lane, let the wave crash in, and just is clearing it in front of the fort front or the keep front gate before Illidan can get a hunt. Labber, did he cancel out the Celestial Charge with an overpower? Something crazy happened right there. The Lightning Breath will cook up Lieutenant Morales, and that's a dead Terran.
Legacy was just trying to keep up with Kier, and this is one of the things about Morales. No dashes or anything. If she gets locked out of position, she gets completely cleaned up. The hunt came in, and now Madara being chased down as well. Down to the bottom fort. Diablo going forward. Labber doing what he can. Is able to power slide in and get the pickup. Uninverted, and Arthas is also getting picked up. That's going to be 4 people picked off here by Sweden, and they've opened the entire exterior of the first line of defense. All 3 are down, and they are moving towards level 20. A second seed available for the taking if they would like to move towards that, and more Merc camps to grab.
Easy Merc camps to grab. I think Jaina grabs a little bit of clear in bottom lane. Maybe she splits off. No, I don't think you want to split that much at this point. They're all going to regroup on the side of Sweden.
You got time.
Smart.
Look at that. They're still dead.
I'm just afraid of the Malthael rotating into the Jaina. I was thinking about she goes to that bottom left camp and Malthael shows up. Ooh, that's a rough go. She's got ice block and things like that. That buys some time.
But your point of being wary is very true, right? You know, never want to be in a situation where you suddenly become a hindrance for your team because you were just for 2 or 3 experience clubs, right? Especially when you have this lead. Merc camps are now grabbed, and all 5 are grouping up, and Sweden's about to hit level 20, and now they can start to pick a lane and siege forward. They see a camp available, and now they can have 4 giants on that middle lane, and even if they don't fight, they can defend these giants, and they can work on killing that tower.
Illidan went blink at level 20. Let's go. All right, trying to dive into the backline easily onto Lieutenant Morales. Winter Mute for the Jaina is huge as well. That is going to be casting the Cone of Cold and the Ice Lance.
Extra DPS, which is, I mean, so far you've already seen their damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Add that on top of Jaina, and you're shredding. I mean, her level 16 talent here is helpful as well. The Northern Exposure, making sure to reduce their armor.
Reduction, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And look at these giants. You just protect them. You just sit near them, you let them siege up, wait till they step up, and then you back away. Easy play there from Sweden.
Next seed is favorable to the position of Sweden, and it's I don't think United States steps into this. United States realistically,
they can't.
You clear your waves. The objective phase does have global vision, so United States. I don't know. Actually, it doesn't have vision until the camp until it spawns. So they didn't see that rotation into this top lane camp. But either way, United States, they're going to turtle up and wait for waves to crash into them, and they're just going to have to eat this Garden of Terror phase.
Wondering if Sweden's going to wait out to push down the top side, but that will start to get to the lane.
Oh, yeah, Swamp. Yeah, they're going to grab more camps. Good call.
And you can siege here in the middle of the map, too, if you would like, and start working on that keep in the middle lane with the Terrors. So you have Giant Camp pushing in the bottom, you have the Knight Camp pushing in the top side, you have them all 3 crash at the same time, and United States in a spot where they have to defend, and they don't have the best wave clear in their composition. This is textbook macro gameplay coming in from Sweden.
Garden Terrors will spawn up as far as your current minion waves. So these minion waves are actually pushed up quite far in bottom and in mid. Garden Terrors also lose health every time they auto-attack, or of course when you attack them as well. Little tidbits of how the mechanics work on that one. The Overgrowth Seed will expire. No more lockdown of the bottom lane keep, but Sweden still 20 talent tier advantage for another level, looking to pressure onto this keep and guarantee it, while mid lane Garden Terror is taken care of, but that still will find decent damage onto this keep as well.
Yeah, about a quarter, going towards about half. Finally, the top side is going to be dealt with, but Liam is here, so Grant is here to help out as well. If he would like to, he can dive in and start working on that keep himself. Can kind of dance around that Malthael. Keep in the bottom side did get cleaned up, and still, United States is 19.5. Sweden even having level 21 now. Even with the water elemental coming in, that's some extra DPS focusing down that keep. Here comes an impel, though. United States wants to fight.
Rather than Jiris pulls the Jaina to the sky, she will pop the ice block. Diablo comes in with a shadow charge. The Crystal Aegis is used, and Sweden is mopping up this fight. It's a quadra kill for the side of Sweden. Can they make the pentakill happen? Nah, Sweden, they say it's not worth it. Go core, end the game. Arthas is whatever, and
This is where Illidan and Greymane just destroy it, right?
Yes.
They get on the core, they burn it down. Arthas can't do anything. And team even turn around and take out Arthas. It's going to be 5 team wipe as all are cleaned up. The core falls, not even a level 20 for the United States, as Sweden is the victor and take the series 3-2.
GG's.
Whew.
That was
a good series.
That was the best series so far of the tournament.
That was an incredible series.
So now every team needs to be better than that series. That's like the threshold.
That's the best part about a tournament like this, though. Everyone's learning, everyone's adapting. We saw some key strategies that were put off from Sweden, and now everyone has eyes on those. Some key strategies from the United States as well, who will be moving down to the losers bracket. And you saw that Yrel was a major sticking point in the draft. Ban out the Yrel, and you have to keep moving around Liam on the different type of top laners. And you can see that the United States struggled a little bit in those matches, enough to where Sweden was able to pull off the W, and they are moving forward in the winners bracket. So congratulations to them. That was a sweet series to watch, and I can't wait to see as the tournament continues to unfold.
I do want to say big kudos to United States. They lost 2 early maps, and they pulled it back in game 3 and 4 so very well too. It wasn't like, oh yeah, they kind of won game 3 and 4. No, they came back after that break and won game 3 and 4, and it was looking like that possibility. The brooms were there, but unfortunately, it's Sweden who does take it, and it's hard fought. They very well done. I really, my heart goes out to the United States. Not out of the tournament yet. We are going to get into some lower bracket games later, which
elimination matches.
Yeah, elimination matches.
People's tournament lives are going to
2 teams are going home.
We got 2 more left, but first let's go to an interview and a commercial break, and then we'll be right back with more hot action here in Berlin.